The Toyota Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, where a moment ago the University of Louisville Cardinals made their appearance, ranked 15th, representing the Big East with a 9-2 record, their 8th straight bowl appearance. It'll be the first time they played in the Gator Bowl. They'll take on Virginia Tech, ranked 12th in the nation, 10-2 from the ACC, in their 13th straight bowl game under their head coach Frank Beamer. And Hokies quarterback Marcus Vick, like his Louisville counterpart, looking to make a statement in today's Gator Bowl. They are two teams with two men looking to define their seasons. For one, today is the chance to escape his brother's legacy. For the other, the chance to prove he belongs and can lead his team when it matters most. Marcus Vick has already shown flashes of his immense potential, talent shared and potential realized by an older brother. Michael Vick hasn't been part of this team for 5 years, but what he accomplished will never be forgotten. Now it's the younger Vick's turn to etch his name in Blacksburg history. Late in the season, they lost their offensive star and team leader and had to turn to an untested freshman. Can Hunter Cantwell continue the recent tradition of quarterback greatness at Louisville? His biggest challenge comes today. Two quarterbacks faced with questions. The 2006 Gator Bowl will provide the answers. From Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida, NBC Sports presents the 2006 Toyota Gator Bowl. Today's Gator Bowl game matching the University of Louisville Cardinals and the Virginia Tech Hokies. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jacksonville. Tom Hammond and Pat Hayden ready for this matchup. Hope your new year is off to a good start. We expect a good game here and two exciting quarterbacks to keep our eyes on, including Marcus Vick, trying to live up to his brother's reputation, immense potential, starting to realize that potential this season.
Well, indeed, in his very first year as a starter, he was the all-ACC quarterback, and really because of his versatility, one of the more versatile quarterbacks in all of college football. Really good feet, as you would expect from a Vick, 6 rushing touchdowns. You always have to worry about the quarterback draw on third down, and I think he surprised some people with his accuracy, 62% completing and 15 touchdown passes. Now, I'll tell you, he's got to worry about Elvis Dumervil, a guy that led the nation in sacks, and he attacks the football when he gets to the quarterback. You see that 11 forced fumbles. So when he gets to the quarterback, you better hold on to the ball. He kind of slingshots himself around the offensive line and propels himself into quarterbacks and led the nation in sacks with 20. And you know, we were talking to Marcus Vick yesterday. He said, I'm always going to know where number 58 is, and we're going to call the protection to 58.
Well, Louisville has a highly touted quarterback as well. Brian Brown, very successful under center for the Cardinals, but injured in the game against Syracuse. He had knee surgery. He's out, replaced by redshirt freshman Hunter Cantwell, who gets his second career start today.
Yeah, that first career start against Connecticut, I thought he played particularly well. Really poised. He's a big, strong guy. You said a non-scholarship player, which surprises me, but he has a lot of attributes. The boy, he's got to worry about this guy, Darryl Tapp, an All-American defensive end who, for the past 2 years, has ravaged offensive linemen and quarterbacks. You don't want to be a mother of a quarterback when he's off the other side, I got to tell you, but he's been a guy so quick off the ball. So what we have today, Tom, are two All-American defensive ends, two of the premier defensive ends in all football. So the quarterbacks, both quarterbacks, have to protect themselves in the football.
Well, it shapes up as a classic matchup. Which side will prevail, the high-octane offense of the Cards or the stout defense of the Hokies? Coming up from Jacksonville, the 2006 Gator Bowl, matching the Louisville Cardinals and the Hokies of Virginia Tech. We're back with the opening kickoff right after these messages. Just before kickoff, the Toyota Gator Bowl. Let's check in on the sideline with Lewis Johnson.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. Well, you and Pat talked about the danger of Louisville's senior defensive end, Elvis Dumervil, his 20 sacks in the regular season. Well, Virginia Tech expected to start their senior offensive tackle, Jimmy Martin, against Dumervil. a four-year starter, their best pass protector, giving up only 1 sack in the last 2 seasons. But he suffered a right knee sprain in practice late last week, and he is out. So his replacement is awfully young. Brandon Fry, a redshirt junior, starting his first game today, averaging only 15 snaps a game. And I talked with Virginia Tech's offensive coordinator earlier, and he said after he gave Fry his test this morning, he sat him down and said, son, you have a chance to establish yourself as a potential starter for next year. But wow, imagine that type of a effort that you'll have to make against a guy who has to be salivating, Elvis Dumervil. So many sacks, so much danger, and so much trouble that he creates for those offenses. Tom?
All right, he'll have to cool his heels for a while because Louisville gets the ball first. Virginia Tech wins the toss and defers to the second half. That means that Judd Dunleavy is teeing it up for Frank Beamer's Hokies. Special teams always a priority for Virginia Tech. And there is the Louisville coach, Bobby Petrino, who has taken the Cardinals to their first January bowl game since 1991, that epic victory over Alabama in the Fiesta Bowl. Dunleavy kicks off. Jones and Spencer are deep. Bounces. Taken on the hop by Jones. Montrell Jones looking for a seam. Found none. Stopped at about the 18-yard line by those good special teams performers of the Hokies, led by Victor Macho Harris and Orion Martin. Hunter Cantwell, there he is, the redshirt freshman. When he came out for his first career start against Connecticut, he had a big grin on his face, kind of a smile this time. Might be thinking about that good Virginia Tech defense. Here's the way they open up with Tinch, their leading receiver. Jones, Douglas, Michael Bush do everything, and Barnage, the tight end. Lefeview and Spitz starting every game under Bobby Petrino. This is number 37. They've started together at guard and tackle. They're very good. First down play, and it's a handoff to Michael Bush. Bush through the line and is taken down across the 30-yard line. Michael Bush on first down rambles for 12 yards before he's stopped by Jimmy Williams of Tech.
Well, good opening play here for your young quarterback, Hunter Cantwell. You know, a young, inexperienced quarterback's best friend's a good running game, and he's got an awfully good runner in Michael Bush and a big hole against a Virginia Tech defense ranked number 1 in the nation.
Fake it to Bush, and Cantwell's pass deflected at the line of scrimmage, knocked down by Chris Ellis, the defensive end. This front four, Virginia Tech, is very good. In fact, the Louisville coach is saying that's the strength of their defense.
Yeah, he's right up here, number 49, Chris Ellis. You know, Darryl Tapp, the other defensive end, gets so much play and so much credit. Chris Ellis has a chance, they say, of being the best defensive end in the history of Virginia Tech, which is saying something.
Mr. Bruce Smith, did he...
Now, Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, told us that.
George Stripling replaces Bush in the backfield for Louisville on second down. Handed to him, and he finds a seam off that left side and is wrestled down just short of the 40, about a yard shy of the first down. Vince Hall, the tackle for the Hokies, as Louisville moving the ball on the ground on that left side against Ellis, Powell, Lewis, and the All-American Tapp up front, with Hall, Adibi, and Anderson, the linebackers. And in the secondary, the All-American Williams is the standout with Rouse, Hamilton, and Minor.
And Jimmy Williams is going to be a factor one way or another in this game. You know, most people haven't really tested him much this season.
Try to go away from Jimmy Williams, so we'll see what the Cardinals elect to do today. They're in the I formation here, and Smith is the tailback. Now they break the I, and so Taylor, the fullback, in motion. Flags down, and confusion reigns. First penalty of the game. This is a Big 12 officiating crew for today's Toyota Gator Bowl.
Well, you know, they have, what, 3 or 4 weeks off since their last game, really a month off since their last game, and oftentimes bowl games are like first games in terms of lots of penalties, particularly on special teams.
Dead ball. False start. Number 77 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
That's Steve Juszczyk, the referee today. So false start puts the ball back at the 34-yard line.
This is the Louisville offensive line had their hands filled today with this front four, Virginia Tech.
Cantwell from the shotgun, under pressure, got rid of it, but incomplete. The pass rush got to Cantwell just as he released the football.
Yeah, it was Vince Hall, number 9, right in the middle, who came right up the middle. And he's the inside linebacker, a perfectly timed blitz. Generally, you know, they start with the front four, and they generally have such good pass rush to the front four. They don't blitz many linebackers. But boy, did Fall come cleanly on that one.
On the blitz, it forces Louisville into a punting situation. Here's
fake
Flannery.
Punt. It's a fake punt.
And a fake.
Okay, that's one way to slow down.
Those special teams, those rushers, Colby Smith taking the snap, and Bobby Petrino saying we have to do something to try to slow down the kick blocking abilities of Virginia Tech. That's how you do it. 24 yards on the fake.
What a nice call. And you're right. He talked to us this yesterday. He is the up back, the direct snap to him. And then he just, you know, it's wide open. Perfect area of the field. And you're so worried about that Virginia Tech, punt block. They blocked 3 kicks this year. They're so noted for it. Perfectly designed play and the great call and the right timing to make the call.
Coach Petrino told us he would try it. I didn't expect it on the first punt, did you? That one intended for Montrell Jones as Cantwell threw it outside, and Jones had broken inside. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, I think anytime you play against a Virginia Tech team and a Frank Beamer team who coaches the special teams, you have to hope for at least a push in special teams, right? You know, you hope you can play good defense, you can play good offense, but on special teams, you got to start there. You don't get a kick blocked, and that's one way to slow down, you know, a punt rush.
Coach Petrino saying that's what keeps you up at nights. The special teams are the Hokies. Here's Michael Bush back in the game and pounding ahead for a good run inside the Hokie 30-yard line.
This is a very, very good offensive football team. What do good offensive teams do? They have balance. You see nearly 200 yards rushing, over 300 yards passing a game. Brian Baum not available today, but still, this is a well-conceived, well-designed offense.
3rd down and 3 for the Cards. Cantwell in the shotgun. And a handoff. It's Bush for what appears to be a 1st down.
You forget how big Michael Bush is. You know, when he
don't forget about it when you stand next to him.
Absolutely. Yesterday we did. You know, he's 6'3", 250 pounds. You see that he ran for over 1,000 yards in just 9 games. Highly recruited as a quarterback, but has really come into his own this season as a running back.
He's a Louisville native from Louisville Male High School, where he was Kentucky Mr. Football as a quarterback. And he did pick up the 1st down. Opening drive of the game kept alive by a fake punt. And Louisville threatening. Play action fake. Cantwell wide open. Through his man. Absolutely wide open, Montrell Jones. He had him wide open.
You know, what Louisville does a great job is they put their wide receivers sometimes at tight ends. And then this time, Montrell Jones is a little man in motion, wide open off a great play action fake. Here he is. You know, actually everybody bid on the play action fake. That's what a good running game does for you, right? When Michael Bush has been so successful. But that's a missed opportunity for Hunter Cantwell. He just had a lob that one.
Yeah, just try to drill it.
Yeah, try to drill it.
Hunter still looking for his 1st completion. He's 0 for 4. Looks like they're resetting the play clock here.
Well, you know, you don't get too many opportunities like that against this Virginia Tech defense, the #1 defense in the country. The fake to Michael Bush has been so successful. All the defensive backs came up. And a wide open Montrell Jones by 10 yards.
2nd down play. Michael Bush. Bush keeping his feet driving and is inside to the 15 to the 13-yard line. Justin Hamilton finally got him down, but not until Bush rambled for 13 yards. He's making his presence known early.
Yeah, you know, but 4 trap plays. And Jeremy Darvaux, number 74, watch him pull, number 74, and trap the defensive end. He kind of cleared the way for Michael Bush. They've run 4 traps on this drive, each time Jeremy Darvaux leading the way. It's a good block.
4 carries, 35 yards, Michael Bush.
And running right at Darryl Tapp is one way to slow down a pass rusher, right?
So far, just can't complete a pass. So they'll keep it on the ground to Bush, who carries tacklers with him for a couple of tough yards. Adebe and Hall got him down. Virginia Tech defense, which leads the nation in total defense, allowing just under 240 yards a game. Only 12 points.
Yeah, that's the key thing. Third in the NCAA. And how about 5 players have scored a touchdown? I mean, that's remarkable. And they score on special teams, they score on defense, and obviously they score on offense. But this is, an explosive defensive team of Virginia Tech.
Bush sets up at a wide receiver. Cantwell from the shotgun. Threw it in traffic into double coverage. Incomplete. Dangerous pass intended for Montrell Jones.
And Vince Hall, the middle linebacker who had the hit on Cantwell earlier, off to a very good start in this first series. One of those guys, Vince Hall, is a guy that had over 100 tackles this year. He's had 7.5 tackles for loss, a couple of sacks, a couple of interceptions, and scored twice. Scored on an interception return and scored on a fumble return this year.
It's 3rd down and 8. Cantwell's from the shotgun. Looking for his first completion. Drills to the end zone. And it's caught by Urrutia. Mario Urrutia. Another redshirt freshman makes the catch in the end zone as Cantwell completes his first pass of the game for a touchdown.
What a season Mario Urrutia has had. Boy, don't be afraid to use your 6'6" receiver down inside the 20-yard line. He just kind of towers over defensive backs. The ball drilled perfectly out in front of Urrutia. Is averaging over 22 yards a catch. 7th touchdown catch of the year.
Arthur Carmody to attempt the extra point. And he boots it through. So Cantwell completes his first pass perfectly to Urrutia for the touchdown. A Louisville touchdown drive kept alive by a fake punt. There's Cantwell's pass, high and on target. Touchdown Louisville as the Cardinals take the opening kick thanks to the fake punt. They go up 7-0 on Virginia Tech. And the MetLife Blimp providing today's aerial coverage of all the college football action below. The Blimp Snoopy 2, co-piloted by Snoopy, dressed as a World War I flying ace. Look for Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2, providing a bird's eye view at future sporting events this new year. 7-0 Cardinals.
Yeah, how about Bobby Petrino's call? The first punt. Fake punt, kept the drive alive.
30-yard run by Smith on the fake punt. Wound up being a 13-play, 82-yard drive. Consumed over 4 minutes.
Yeah, remember, this Louisville team is a team that's averaged 45 points a game. Really an explosive offensive team.
You saw Royal and Hyman, the deep men for Virginia Tech, and that's Flannery, who's set to boot it for the Cards. Royal and Morgan, deep men for the Hokies. Flannery's kick, taken by Morgan. Josh Morgan breaks to the outside and gets to a corner. Nice return by Josh Morgan. Gets it to the 35-yard. Now here's a late flag. A late flag just now coming down. Like a couple of players, one from each side, locked up, and a flag flies. Douglas made the tackle on special teams after a 32-yard return.
A 29-yard return. First and 10, Virginia Tech.
Still waiting to sort out the flag. Douglas made the tackle.
I have 2 personal fouls. 31 of Virginia Tech, 46 of Louisville. They offset. Gonna be first down.
Well, that's Hill, number 31, Brendan Hill.
And for Louisville, Terrence Butler.
That's the play right there.
Yeah.
All for no avail.
I don't think anybody got an advantage in the skirmish either. So here's Marcus Vick with his first snap of the game. Marcus Vick, redshirt junior from Newport News. He's had such great expectations. Passed for over 2,100 yards this year. All ACC quarterback, handing it to Cedric Hughes on his first carry. And Hughes, you hear the Virginia Tech faithful. Hughes, as he makes it for 12 yards on the first play from scrimmage.
Very good ears, Tom. Very good. Good offensive line for Virginia Tech, and that allows these running backs, the combination of running backs ran for almost 2,000 yards. And good vision by Cedric Hughes, who was injured for a couple of games this year. Actually, one game, just broken arm, missed just one game. But big, powerful guy is Cedric Hughes.
The Hokies are without Mike Emo, who is their third leading rusher. He's undergone surgery. First down play for Marcus Vick. Short drop, looking to pass, chased from the pocket. Sets his feet, pumps once, and hangs it up there. Incomplete. That was dangerous. There were 4 white shirts around it and only Eddie Royal in maroon.
Great coverage by William Gay. Oof.
Marcus Vick, the quarterback. And the Hokies with Cedric Humes, who is their leading rusher, Clowney, their leading receiver. Royal, Allen, and King were rounding out the lineup. With those good hands at tight end. Fry replacing the injured Jimmy Martin, as Lewis told us earlier. Butler, Montgomery, Murphy, and Brown.
Yeah, how would you like to get your first start, as Brandon Fry is, against Elvis Dumerville, the guy, the nation's leading sacker? That's the assignment he has. Right down here.
4 wide receiver formation, play action fake. Has it on a screen that Louisville detects immediately. Louisville really got after it in a hurry. Rod Counsell was right there in the backfield. He didn't make the tackle, but enabled Abe Brown to do so. There's Dumerville. That Elvis had more hits than the King this season. Grady, Okoye, and Rumsey. I had to get out of the way early, too. Brown, Harris, and Johnson, the linebackers. And in the secondary, Counsell, Russell, Sharp, and Gay.
Did you stay up late last night?
That one came easy.
Yeah, it is. What a year Dumerville had. Not only does he get to the quarterback, but as you said at the top, he forces fumbles. 11 forced fumbles this year.
3rd and long. From the shotgun, Vick. Chase from the pocket. Buys a little time and then hurls complete. Caught by Josh Hyman after Marcus Vick bought some time with those quick feet in the pocket.
You know, Marcus Vick has pretty good vision, too. You know, he didn't always necessarily just try to run. He's just trying to buy himself a second opportunity to throw a pass. He's got a wide-open Josh Hyman. You know, it started out as good defense. If you're a defensive coordinator like Mike Cassidy, you say, what do you have to do? Yet everybody covered early. It was about 5 seconds later. He's able to buy those extra 3 seconds and find Josh Hyman.
24 yards. He found him. Twice what they needed for the first down. It's the All-ACC quarterback with a big completion thanks to his scrambling ability. Here's the called sweep. Quarterback sweep gets nothing. Louisville ready for it. Yeah. Stopped him for no gain.
Against Florida State, the ACC championship game, Marcus Vick ran a lot of draws inside, you know, from tackle to tackle. Today they wanted to get him on the perimeter of this Louisville defense. And Brandon Johnson, number 97, the defensive linebacker for Louisville, fighting through 2 guys to make a tackle. You know, Brandon Johnson has had a pretty good year for the Cardinals. It's a guy that they don't take out, plays on their dime defense as well.
64 tackles, couple of sacks, a forced fumble, fumble recovery, 2 interceptions. What else can he do?
Well, he's got these really long arms, too, that get in the passing lanes of quarterbacks, deflects a lot of balls.
2nd down and 11. Vick pumps once, rolls to his right, spun down on a sack by Harris. Nate Harris, the linebacker, got him by the shoe tops.
Nate Harris, that is his 6th sack of the year for the middle linebacker. You know, Nate Harris, he's right in here, and you know, he's just going to bide his time, and he's got great speed. Highly recruited kid out of Miami. Came late to Louisville, but in the last 5 games, he has really come on. Against Connecticut, had 13 tackles and 3 sacks. That was his 6th sack of the season.
Loss of 7. From the gun, Vick calls timeout. Play clock about to run out. And Marcus Vick has to spend a Virginia Tech timeout. The Hokies facing a 3rd and 18 when we return to the Gator Bowl with the Cards up 7-0. Downtown Jacksonville, the St. Johns River, and in Alltel Stadium, Louisville leads Virginia Tech 7-0. The Hokies facing a 3rd down and 18 with 7:49 left in the opening quarter. Four wide receivers, Vick in the shotgun. Marcus Vick, with protection, stands in the pocket and finds a man in the seam of the defense, Josh Hyman. Hyman with another clutch reception, tackled immediately by Brandon Sharp, but not until he gained 23 yards for another clutch 3rd down.
You're right. That's a really good catch by Josh Hyman in traffic. And this is a guy that only caught 11 passes all year, but 2 today. He actually started the season as a starting wide receiver, but after the first game gave way to David Clowney, but had a very nice first quarter here for Virginia Tech.
So twice on this drive, Virginia Tech has converted on 3rd and long, 3rd and 12, and now 3rd and 18. From the I formation, first down run by Hughes. Got a yard. Okoye wrapped him up.
Yeah, Yombi Okoye, number 91. Kind of an interesting story. Born in Nigeria, his family moved to Huntsville, Alabama. Very, very bright kid. Tested into the 9th grade as a 12-year-old and started his very first college game as a 16-year-old.
He was the youngest in college football that year, 2003, when he played as a 16-year-old. His dad was an athlete and now is a biochemistry professor at Hampton University.
Ooh.
Nearly intercepted, broken up as it was, intended on the play for John Kinzer, one of the tight ends, and deflected incomplete by Brandon Johnson.
Brandon Johnson, we talked about Brandon Johnson's long arms, Tom, just a moment ago. That linebacker that kind of does everything for the Cardinals on defense. Just, 6'5" and really, really rangy. Talking to Mike Casson, the defensive coordinator, said this guy makes a lot of plays for us.
Another 3rd and long. 3rd down and 9. Can Vic pull a rabbit out of a hat again? He's done it twice on this drive. Quarterback draw. Nothing doing. You can tell the Louisville defense is well schooled for some of the trick plays, not trick plays, but some of the tendencies of the Hokies. They've just executed on 3rd and long twice. Adrian Grady made that tackle.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you play against Marcus Vick, I think one of the things you think about on long down situations is the quarterback draw. And Adrian Grady, the defensive tackle, just kind of spied him and made the stop.
Brandon Pace, who has hit 17 of 20 field goals this season, will attempt one from 36 yards. Pace puts it up and through. So Virginia Tech, their drive kept alive by 2 conversions on 3rd and long. Get on the scoreboard thanks to the Brandon Pace field goal. And with 6:04 left in the opening quarter, 7-3 U of L. After the Tech field goal, and in a moment Hunter Cantwell will get back on the field for the Cardinals. He's been carrying a tremendous emotional burden this season. His mom, Brenda, a 1st grade teacher, is battling breast cancer, and we asked Hunter about his mom.
She's persevered, through surgery. The doctors believe they got everything, and right now she's just going through chemotherapy, and that's been real tough on her. She's obviously been wanting to come see my games up in Louisville, but been having to stay home just because she didn't feel good. So she got her chemo treatment switched around so she could run in the Gator Bowl, and she's just really having a good time with everything, and so I'm sure she'll be in the stands cheering hard.
And she is in the stands. Brenda, despite the chemotherapy treatments and the surgery, has remained at her job as a 1st grade teacher in addition to taking care of Hunter's 2 younger sisters.
When Hunter was so excited that his mom was going to be able to make it here, to change her chemotherapy treatment so she could be here, and he was thrilled that she's here.
And Hunter with only 1 completion so far, but it was for a touchdown. Jared DeVelli ready to kick off for Virginia Tech, and the ball blown off the tee. He'll reset it. Jones and Spencer are the deep men for the Cardinals when DeVelli gets it straightened away. There they are. Louisville scoring a touchdown on its first possession thanks to a fake punt to keep it alive, and Virginia Tech with 2 3rd and long conversions to get the field goal. Montrell Jones deep in the end zone will down it there for the touchback. Let's go to Lewis Johnson.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. Well, I'm here with the entire family, Tom, the 2 sisters, and of course Brenda, who is winning that battle on breast cancer. We're glad to see you here. We know you rearranged your chemotherapy treatments. First of all, how are you feeling?
Well, right now, I'm just so excited. I'm not feeling anything. I'm just sort of numb. I'm just so happy for Hunter.
What did that first touchdown do for you?
I know that, he needed to kind of calm down and get in the game, and when he made that touchdown, we could all breathe a lot easier. So.
Having some trouble with Lewis's microphone there, but Brenda saying breathing that sigh of relief. There's an attempted screen pass to Bush that is deflected and broken up.
Well, he's one of, what, 7 right now, as accurate as an in-run accountant early in the game. But you know what I really liked about him in that game that he started against Connecticut? You know, he doesn't let the bad plays shake him, just kind of hangs in the pocket. Really, you know, a big, strong guy. I'm just shocked that he wasn't offered a bunch of college scholarships. He's a walk-on at Louisville. He'll get a scholarship next fall. I'm sure Brenda's happy about that.
That play clock problem as they are getting it reset. At Paducah Tillman High School, Paducah, Kentucky, he was the all-time #1 passer, and that's a very good program. Over 7,200 yards and 70 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Handed to Bush. Bush only got a couple that time.
And you know, Tom, just a winner is Hunter Cantwell in high school. You mentioned his high school mark. He was 31-8 as a starter. You know, completed over 60% of his passes, and just kind of fell through the cracks when Division I-A teams were looking for quarterbacks. But this guy can play.
And a 400 hitter in baseball as well.
Coaches thought, you know, last spring they knew they had something special. He had a really good spring, and he and Mario Urrutia, #7, who caught that touchdown pass earlier in the game, developed a special relationship as a quarterback and receiver.
3rd down and 7. Good protection. Cantwell fires complete, caught by Urrutia. And he has a Louisville 1st down. Here's a late flag just now coming in the backfield. Looks like a late hit on Cantwell. Parker and Minor got Urrutia out of bounds, but not until he had gained 13 yards.
You know, Tom, I think it's Mario Urrutia, #7 for Louisville.
Number 49 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. 1st down.
So Chris Ellis, the defensive end for Virginia Tech. But Urrutia, I was just talking about, I think he has a chance of really being a star in college football. You know, had a really good year, but a guy goes 6'6", he's 220 pounds. There's the late hit. I don't think that really should have been a penalty, but they called it. But he goes 6'6", 220 pounds, has good speed, does Urrutia.
Second in the nation with 22 yards a catch, which is pretty impressive.
And you don't think he's a weapon down inside the 10? He's already caught 1 touchdown already today down there.
From Louisville Fern Creek High School. Play action fake. Cantwell sacked. Vince Hall was there. Looks like Jonathan Lewis was there as well.
Yeah, Jonathan Lewis from the inside and Vince Hall from the outside.
Number 56, Jonathan Lewis.
Watch number 9 on the outside, Vince Hall. 2nd time he's coming cleanly on a blitz.
He just looped around that time.
He did, but you know, Jonathan Lewis, number 56, prevented the quarterback from stepping up and avoiding the outside rush. So it was the inside-outside combination that got to Hunter Cantwell.
Loss of 8 on the sack of Cantwell. That sets up 2nd down and 18. Shotgun. And apparently someone called a timeout. Timeout taken by Louisville. Facing 2nd down and long when we return. Hunter Cantwell had to call the timeout after he was hit in the nose and went to the sideline. You see the stuffing up in his nose. Remember when he was talking about his mom, that place on the bridge of his nose? Well, as he left the field after calling a timeout, you see the blood streaming down his nose. And then when he got to the sideline, they not only tried to stop that bleeding, but stuffing up into the nose itself. And you see still in his nostril, his left nostril, with the stuffing in there. That wasn't bad enough. He has a 2nd down and 18. Play action fake, and he's
just got the stuffing knocked out.
Yeah, probably not there anymore as Burchett knocked him down.
The stuffing actually came right out of his nose. I saw it come flying out of his nose.
And a flag.
Boy.
Nolan Burchett, who replaced Chris Ellis at that defensive end.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 96 of the defense. 15-yard penalty.
I'll tell you, his teammates have found out they've got a pretty tough quarterback in Hunter Cantwell. He was wounded for a while, but bounced right back up. Here's Burchett, number 96. They called that a late hit. I don't think.
No, they called it unsportsmanlike.
Unsportsmanlike, okay. And really, I actually saw that stuffing from his nose come flying out.
And could possibly have been a taunt or something afterwards that resulted in the unsportsmanlike call.
Well, so 2 successive shots as Hunter Cantwell taken. Man,
Double stuffing now.
that's, man.
And the backup quarterback, remember Brian Baum is out. The backup quarterback, Bill Ashburn, a redshirt freshman from Pittsburgh, a walk-on transfer from Youngstown State who has not played.
Yeah, remember we talked to Bobby Petrino yesterday. He said, what happened if anything happened to Hunter Cantwell? He said, don't go there. Michael Bishop playing quarterback now.
Bishop quarterback with a run. And Virginia Tech knew exactly what he was going to do. Could not get around the corner and is stopped for a loss on the play by James Anderson.
Well, the former All-State quarterback in Kentucky. And then back comes Hunter Cantwell. Well, you know, I think at every level, Tom, you know, your quarterback, the first thing is you gotta be tough. You're gonna have to take some shots and respond. And boy, Hunter Cantwell, his mom Brenda looks on. Hunter Cantwell's taken a bunch of shots in this first quarter and responded. Back in the game.
No stuffing at all. Second down, 14. Cantwell rips it complete. Not a big gain on the play inside the 40-yard line where it's caught by Harry Douglas. DJ Parker had him wrapped up.
Hunter Cantwell looks like a Thanksgiving bird. All that stuffing and just kind of hanging in there. You know, when we talk to him, he's such a guy, such a delightful young guy who just loves the game of football. He said, hey, you know, what is it about this game? Just that, you know, the competition. He dreamed of being a Division I quarterback.
Said he idolized college players. That's why he had the big grin when he got onto the field to start against UConn. Here he has a man open and he catches it. This time it's Tinch for the touchdown.
Hey, good for Hunter Cantwell.
Wow. He found Joshua Tinch wide open, didn't overthrow him like he had earlier with Montrell Jones. Caught him for the touchdown. Mom Brenda loves it as Hunter Cantwell, the walk-on redshirt freshman, shows his toughness and throws his second touchdown pass 39 yards.
You know, so often you get hit as much as your quarterback does that early, you kind of flinch in the pocket, but he just kind of hung in there and waited for Joshua Tinch to come open.
Carmody, the extra point. And it's good.
What a series for Hunter Cantwell.
Tinch catches the touchdown, his fourth of the season. But what about a tip of the cap to Hunter Cantwell? Pounded the nose, had to take a play off just to put the stuffing up to stop the bleeding. What's he do? Steps back on the field and throws this touchdown pass.
And then the poise in the pocket, and then just delivers a shot. So again, that's the second time there's been a wide open. One time he overthrew him, and this time he hit the Joshua Tinch. Good pass protection. Big opening passing lane for Joshua Tinch, one of the captains. The 65th catch of the season.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 2, Virginia Tech. Ejection.
So here's a big development now as we see the replay of Cantwell. Just after the play, Jimmy Williams, who is known as the trash talker supreme, the taunter, is called for an unsportsmanlike penalty and ejected from the game. That's the All-American cornerback from the Hokies. He ran into the ref, we're told, ran into the referee. A flag was thrown and he was ejected for the game. Now his antics have gotten him into trouble sometimes in the past, and here in the first quarter, still angry, ejected from the game.
Only the 4th consensus All-American in Virginia Tech history. Has a reputation of being pretty emotional. And it was interesting, Louisville was going to try to go after him today. They were going to attack him. He hadn't been tested much this year, but Louisville's game plan was to throw right at him.
Look in the upper right-hand side of your screen, and we'll see if we can detect what happens. You see? Oh, yeah, right there. Did you see it?
It was right down here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that got him thrown out of the game. The All-American. So things have not gone well for the Hokies here in the first quarter. We'll see if this sort of lights a fire to them, as sometimes an incident like that would. But certainly you have to think it's a big loss for the Hokies defense. It is again.
You're just never going to win if you touch the official, and that's what he did. As soon as he bumped the official, you're out of the game. The guy who came back for his senior year, hoping to improve his draft status, and you know, things like that don't necessarily help. defensive coaches, Bud Foster, defensive coordinator, was raving to us this week about Jimmy Williams, the capability and what he's meant to this team.
Ejected from the game normally means you have to leave the field. Still on the sideline as Flannery is set to kick off for the Cardinals to Royal and Morgan. There's Royal. Flannery's boot out of the end zone.
Well, you know, with losing Jimmy Williams, it means you not only bring your nickel back into your starting corner, but then your sixth corner now becomes your nickel back. So, you know, it's really kind of affected the way they are going to have to defend this high-powered Louisville offense.
That was Brandon Flowers, who we would expect to take his place.
And maybe we'll see some of Victor Harris, the very talented freshman from Virginia Tech on defense, too. Right. Now it's up to Marcus Vick to get his team back in some mode, some karma going.
Right, get him back with some momentum and something to feel good about. 2:53 left opening quarter, 14-3 Cardinals. Brandon Orr is in at tailback. And they run a reverse to Harper. Justin Harper caught by the collar and taken down at the 30-yard line by Brandon Johnson. Close to a first down, though.
Remember I said he had long arms, Brandon Johnson? He was about 5 yards away from Justin Harper and still reached out to get him. Watch how long his arms are. Just got that right arm down there and dragged him down. And
even longer after that one jerked a little bit.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It was a first down. Enough for a first down on the Justin Harper end around. They fake the ball to Orr, hand to Harper, and he takes it for 10.
It's a good linebacker play from Louisville, from both Nate Harris, the inside linebacker, and Brandon Johnson.
Approaching the 2-minute mark of the first quarter. Orr. Brandon Orr. Shy of the 35. Brandon Sharp makes the tackle. Sharp with a homecoming appearance here. He is from Jacksonville, Bowles High School. And makes that tackle for the Cardinals. And we're told now that Jimmy Williams did indeed leave the field for the Hokies after being ejected here in the first quarter after being tangled up with an official and thrown out of the game. Second down and 5 for Vick and the Hokie offense. Brandon Orr has another Hokie first down.
Yeah, Brandon Orr had a very good freshman season for the Hokies. 3 times he rushed for over 100 yards. And, you know, to me, Tom, the amazing thing about him, he had 98 attempts and only lost 2 yards. So you always know he's going to gain positive yards when you feed it to him.
Redshirt freshman from Chesapeake, Virginia, a prep All-American at Indian River High School.
They think he has a chance of being one of those home run hitter type of running backs for the Hokies over the next few years.
Vick might be changing the play and finally has to take a timeout. Second timeout burned in this first quarter by the Hokies with the play clock about to run out.
Be sure and visit your local Toyota.
Well, this Saturday on NBC, it's the U.S. Army All-American Bowl as you can catch the country's top high school prospects playing one last game as a prep player, making their college declarations as well. Who'll be the next breakout star? The U.S. Army All-American Bowl, Saturday 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, only on NBC. And Tim Tebow, the highly touted Jacksonville area quarterback from Nice High School, will be making his college declaration at that All-American Bowl coming up on Saturday. We'll be on hand for that to see who will be the stars in college football for the next few years.
Bobby Petrino, the job that he has done for 3 years at Louisville, comes from a long line of coaches. His dad was a coach at Carroll College for 29 years. He played for his father, was an option quarterback.
Here are stops he has made on his coaching career, and what's interesting about that extensive resume is he's made a lot of stops but learned from a lot of different people, so it really gives you a sort of a rounding out of your football education. So His dad coach, he was a quarterback, an NAI All-American quarterback at Carroll College. His brother Paul is the offensive coordinator of the Cardinals. And his son Bobby, quarterback Trinity High School to the Kentucky 4A State Championship.
Family business.
Yeah. Play action fake, and Marcus Vick steps up in the pocket, throws long down the field. Collision, Josh Morgan, the intended receiver, colliding with Brandon Sharp, and a flag down. Or was it Gay? I thought it was Gay. It was Gay, yes. I thought it was more like incidental contact.
Absolutely, Tom. I don't know. Certainly didn't look like pass interference to me. William Gay had his head turned, and
in fact, he thought he was going to catch the ball.
Yeah.
It appeared, because it was thrown long.
Pass interference. Offense.
Oh.
okay.
Number 17.
Yep.
15-yard penalty.
Don't see that often.
Still first down.
No, but actually, I think it's of the two calls, it's the right one. I probably would have said incidental, but look here, he does prevent Gay from making the interception, but it looked incidental. Looked like they might have gotten their feet tangled up.
But, you know, this is the second time I've seen in this first quarter that William Gay has had perfect pass position on a play. Marcus Vick early in the game tried to throw a quick out to one of his receivers. William Gay jumped it. That time perfect coverage on the deep ball. I wouldn't have called this one on either one of them.
Yeah, it would have been incidental, I think. Should have been incidental contact. Just got their feet tangled up, although Gay did have dead aim on it. So first down and 25. Not much going right for the favored Hokies here in the first quarter. Just over a minute remaining. Cuts to the outside. Tackle made by Johnson, tracking him down.
You call Johnson's name.
A lot.
Brandon Johnson, number 97, one of the fastest players on this team. You see how tall and angular he is? Just can cover an awful lot of ground. Fights through the block of Jeff King and is there to make the stop on Marcus Vick. Very, very impressive game. Doesn't come out, plays their dime defense, good in pass coverage.
30 seconds left now in the first quarter and counting.
Well, Marcus Vick has been in a lot of second and third and longs today.
This one is second and long. Across the middle, pass short of Morgan. That had to be kind of a mix-up. Did it? Two receivers right together. Stops the clock.
Well, we've seen very good linebacker play from Louisville, and combined that with some good defensive corner play from William Gay and Rod Council.
Clock kept running there on the incomplete pass.
Shouldn't have.
Put 12 seconds on a game clock.
Our Big 12 crew wary of aware of the fact that the clock had continued to roll, and so 12 seconds remaining now in the first quarter.
Well, Mike Cassidy, the defensive coordinator for Louisville, has to be awfully happy with the way his team has played in this first quarter, and particularly against Marcus Vick. He said to us a week ago that, hey, he thought his biggest concern was Marcus Vick running the football. But when it's, you know, 3rd and 20, you're not nearly as concerned about that. Marcus Vick has faced several third and longs in the first quarter.
Converted a 3rd and 12 and converted a 3rd and 18. You'll need to do some of that magic right here. Vick has to scramble free in the pocket and then wings it downfield. Incomplete. Eddie Royal, the intended receiver, and Rod Council goes in front of him to deflect the ball incomplete. It'll be 4th down. The clock still shows 12 seconds. So it started during the incomplete pass, then didn't run during the play.
Take a look at this play. Rod Council, number 14. Freshman corner. Really, really talented player. Beautiful play. Remember Mike Cassidy, the defensive coordinator, said about Rod Council that, hey, you know, I've sent 28 guys to the NFL as defensive backs, and this guy's as talented as anybody.
They're resetting the clock. The thing about that play by Council, who is from West Charlotte, North Carolina, by the way, West Charlotte High School, there's so many times you see him use the left arm to wrap around the receiver before they go to deflect the ball and get called for the interference penalty. He was clean across the top.
That's what Mike Cassidy said. He said, hey, he's got this unique capability of timing his jumps to knock the ball away without interfering. Saw another example.
So 4th down and 20, and Nick Schmidt is on to punt for the first time for the Hokies. There's Schmidt. Montrell Jones deep for the Cardinals. Nice punt by Schmidt. Jones backpedals to the 14-yard line. Nice return. Dives forward to the 40-yard line. A 53-yard punt, but then Jones brought it back 26 yards. And that'll bring the first quarter to a close. From the Toyota Gator Bowl, the Louisville Cardinals having their way in the first quarter at the end of one. 14-3. Back after these messages from your local NBC station. 14-3 Louisville at the Toyota Gator Bowl. Walk-on quarterback Hunter Cantwell has thrown 2 touchdown passes and taken a beating. This was a shot to the throat. Then this hit sandwiched him. His nose bleeding. He had to go to the sideline. Hit again. Eventually would have to take a play off. Then with stuffing in his nose, he stepped up and hit Joshua Tinch for his second touchdown pass of the game. Hunter Cantwell, the Louisville quarterback, showing his toughness. And his mom, Brenda, who is undergoing a battle with breast cancer, celebrating in the stands his second touchdown pass. And as you see, still has the stuffing in his nose. Cantwell started the game 0 for 5. But has hit 4 of his last 6 for 70 yards and a couple of scores. And off to Stripling, George Stripling. Tackled by Carlton Powell as we go down to Lewis for the medical status of Hunter Cantwell. What's it like?
Oh, boy, it was something. It was quite chaotic on the Louisville sideline, Tom, as the trainers got ready for him while he threw that second touchdown. And when he got there, a team of 6 doctors and trainers worked on him, led by Dwayne Trillo, the head trainer. They found that he had his helmet had come down and hit him on the nose. They're not sure if the nose is broken, but the head trainer says that they don't believe they need to x-ray it. He can breathe through his mouth and a little bit through his nose because he's got so much cotton there. But Hunter Cantwell seems to be tough and seems to be unfazed, and he's back out on the field, Tom.
And you can bet his teammates noticed. That was sort of a bubble screen attempt to Montrell Jones, who drops it incomplete.
You know, you're right, Tom. I think in every quarterback's life, at some point, you're going to take some shots, and your teammates wonder, hey, how he's going to respond. You know, how's my quarterback, a guy who's a redshirt freshman, is going to respond? And boy, he has responded beautifully. Thrown 2 touchdown passes, hung in there, really managed the game, and didn't get discouraged. You know, Bobby Petrino was saying to us earlier, he got off to a slow start, but he didn't get discouraged early.
By the way, Brandon Flowers, as expected, has replaced the ejected Jimmy Williams at cornerback. Blitz comes, Louisville picks it up, with the pass behind the intended receiver and incomplete. That was Douglas, the intended receiver.
Harry Douglas, really their 4th wide receiver, just double slant there, ball thrown behind him. It's one of those routes that Harry Douglas would like to get out in front of him, and so he can catch it and run because he's got the best speed of the receivers.
Brian Brom out of action, normally the quarterback for the Cardinals. Knee surgery, and has been schooling Hunter Cantwell in his absence. Flannery's punt on 4th down. Eddie Royal lets it bounce out of bounds. Well, it didn't bounce it. It kind of kicked back in and will be downed by the Cardinals at about the 12-yard line. A 45-yard punt.
Well, Tom, we talked about Elvis Dumerville at the very top of the show, the leading sacker in the country. Let's see what's happened early in this game. And that was number 74, Brandon Fry, kind of turning him over, Reggie Butler. And then kind of on the run block, Dwayne Brown kind of stymies him. Once again, Reggie Miller one-on-one. This is a guy who came in with 20 sacks, 11 forced fumbles, but this Virginia Tech offensive line has done a very good job against Elvis Dumerville.
Set the NCAA record against the Wildcats and the Big East record with 20 for the season. Handoff on 1st down to Hughes, who started the game but spent much of the first quarter on the sideline. Returns now with a nice run and tackled by Brandon Sharp.
Take another look at number 58, Elvis Dumerville, on an inside slant. 0 tackles so far today. But, you know, everybody approaches him a little bit differently. He has not had a sack in his last 3 games and a quarter now, because people, you know, obviously he gained their attention. and they're chipping them. They're putting tight ends over there. They're double teaming them.
Humes with a first down run, gets it again. Humes, legs churning for another good gain on first down.
Cedric Humes, 6'1", 233 pounds, and he said to us yesterday, you know, I get the tough yard. You see that kind of cast on his right forearm there. He broke his arm and actually just had what, 6 metal screws inserted in that right
The
forearm.
engineering department at Virginia Tech devised a special brace for it.
Yeah, and he only missed 1 game. Bounced back
19 days.
19 days. It's pretty remarkable. And he told us yesterday, you know, I like getting the tough yards, tackle to tackle.
Humes from Virginia Beach got his Virginia Tech degree in December. There he is again. Saved a touchdown. He was almost off for the end zone. As it is, he gained 13 yards.
Well, he's a powerful guy that breaks a lot of tackles. And as you get closer to the goal line, good read, good little stutter step. Broke the tackle of Okoye early on. You know, 10 rushing touchdowns he had this year, so he's a particularly good short yardage and goal line runner. See how powerful he is. I thought it was interesting. He said he loves to play football, but never watches it. Doesn't watch any college or professional football.
Carried 5 times for 44 yards. That's nearly 9 yards. Yeah, this one will be negative, though, although he looks like he did make the line of scrimmage again. Second straight tackle for Abe Brown.
Your math is really good in 2006. Did the engineering department help with that, too?
Are you saying it wasn't good in 2005?
Well, Cedric Humes and Brandon Orr, and, you know, you mentioned, I think, Mike Emo not available today, but, you know, they have 4 different running backs that accounted for over 1,800 yards, and if you throw in Marcus Vick as kind of a quasi-runner, over 2,000 yards rushing out of 5 guys.
Humes out or in on this second down. Play action fake. Vick. No pressure. And it's deflected incomplete by Gay again, intended for Harper.
Well, when they're at their best, Virginia Tech is running the ball well. You see these guys, Humes over 600 yards. You add Vick's 370 yards, 28 rushing touchdowns, 2,200 yards. This is what they like to do, but they've not been able really to get much rushing yardage on first down. So once again, Marcus Vick faces a very long third down situation. This is his 4th of the game.
Louisville's corners, Council and Gay have played well so far, haven't they?
Yeah, beautiful.
Marcus Vick hit his first 3 of 4 passes, but since has missed 4 in a row. That one through the hands of Josh Morgan.
Well, you know why? It was because of number 97, Brandon Johnson, right in the face of Marcus Vick. What a game Brandon Johnson's had right here. The little cross blitz they used so well this year in Louisville, and no one picked up Brandon Johnson. And there's a guy at halftime. I tell you, one adjustment they're going to have to make.
Marcus Vick with a little limp as he comes to the sideline, a little gimpy leaving the field after that incomplete third down pass. Schmidt will punt. Montrell Jones gathers it in at the 11. Nice special teams play. Again, that's what we've come to expect from the Hokies. Looks like Jeff King made that one. 44-yard punt, 6 on the return. There's a flag back upfield. Continue to attend to Marcus Vick.
Number 5 of Louisville. 15-yard penalty. Yeah.
That's Antoine Sharp. Louisville.
Where is that?
By the way, I needed to remind you, it's Louisville.
Louisville.
No,
Got
Louisville.
Work with me.
Look at the landing here in Jacksonville on the St. Johns River. Lots of restaurants, shops, bars, and not far away, Alltel Stadium, scene of the 2006 Toyota Gator Bowl. That aerial shot provided by Snoopy 1, the MetLife Blimp. Traveling over 60,000 miles a year to cover sporting events and television specials throughout the U.S. Look for Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 as they team up with NBC in the new year. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, and Lewis Johnson at the Toyota Gator Bowl. Louisville Cardinals leading the Virginia Tech Hokies 14-3. Cards with a first down at their own 9-yard line, second quarter. Michael Bush. Bush opened the game with a pretty good rip and run. But since then, he had a couple nice runs in the first series, as a matter of fact. But since then, Virginia Tech has stiffened that run defense.
Well, they lead the nation in scoring. Does Michael Bush, 23 rushing touchdowns. Good short yardage runner. And, you know, it's a little bit surprising. Last year, they didn't really use him much at the goal line in short yardage. And Bobby Petrino and his brother Paul, who's the offensive coordinator, said, hey, that was one of our big goals, get him to really run tough inside.
And Michael says a lot of determination helps that. Tight running, intended for Urrutia, but Cantwell throws it over his head and incomplete.
Hard guy to throw it over his head at 6'6", Urrutia.
It'll be third down and 9 for the Cardinals deep in their own territory. This I think it would be a dangerous situation as Marcus Vick, who was a little gimpy as he left the field on that last series for the Hokies, waits his turn on the bench. Right now it's Hunter Cantwell in the shotgun on third and long. And they hand it off to Smith. Colby Smith, nothing doing. Hokies throwing back, led by Vince Hall and Carlton Powell.
Okay, you know, again, if you're one of those punters against Virginia Tech, these are the kind of situations you really worry about, right? And
so Flannery now must punt from his own end zone against that tough punt blocking unit of the Hokies. Remember, the first punt situation was a fake.
And Frank Beamer said he thought he could block one right up the middle.
And he almost got that one. Flannery did get it off, and Royal from midfield with a nice return down the sideline before he's knocked out of bounds. So good field position this time for the Hokies, and a late flag comes flying. Punt covered 41 yards, 15 yards on the return by Royal.
You know, the special teams did their job, right? Getting that good field position, putting some pressure on the punter, forcing them to protect so they couldn't cover very well. And then Eddie Royal with a nice return.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Number 30 of the receiving team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
That's Kerry Wade as the personal foul calls continue to mount up against the Hokies. They've had unsportsmanlike calls, personal foul calls, and had Jimmy Williams, their All-American quarterback, ejected from the game.
Take a look at the end of the play, left side of the screen, number 30, Wade. And very uncharacteristic for Frank Beamer's teams, aren't they? Just when they had really good field position set up by their special teams, they get the 15-yard penalty.
So put it back on the other side of midfield as the Hokies start from their 47. Hand it off to Hughes. Spun down for a loss on the play.
Well, you know, we talk so much about this Louisville offense. Well, I've been impressed with their defense. Played really good defense this first half.
Adrian Grady hit Humes first that time. Grady, a backup offensive lineman, a redshirt freshman from Georgia. Remember, Vick was limping the last series. Get a report on him, Lewis?
Oh boy, was there a scramble here, Tom. Everybody ran over to see what was happening. Trainers were looking at his left knee. Afterwards, he got up, kind of stretched in, and when he turned around and see that no one else was there, Vick kind of stretched that leg out and kept rubbing it. Trainers tell me that he is okay to play, but you wonder if that's going to affect his scrambling ability. Left knee was the issue. Tom?
All right, Lewis. Vick has missed his last 5 pass attempts, as you see. Cardinals showing blitz. And here they come. Tech picked it up, but Vick had to unload in a hurry and not even close to Josh Hyman.
Well, they've gotten to Marcus Vick, particularly Brandon Johnson a couple of times, and then Nate Harris inside. They picked up the blitz this time. Just, poorly thrown ball that time by Marcus.
So guess what? Here's another 3rd and long for Marcus Vick.
Yeah,
he's going to be seeing him in his nightmares tonight.
Absolutely. The 5th time they've been at least 3rd and 9. This one 3rd and 11.
Four wide receiver formation. Vick's in the shotgun.
Boomerville down here.
Vick keeps it, and he's got the corner. Then he throws, pulls up and throws it downfield. Incomplete. Intended for David Clowney. Just when I thought Vick was going to turn the corner and run downfield, he unloaded the ball and could not hit Clowney.
Good inside pressure again by Louisville. The scrambling Marcus Vick. Yeah, I don't think he would have made it run.
Nope, he wouldn't have.
And just ran out of real estate to Davis Clowney, the wide receiver. They had left-footed punters, seems like, for about 3 centuries at Virginia Tech. Actually, it's been 11 straight years they've had a left-footed punter.
This one is Schmidt as Montrell Jones awaits. By the way, Marcus Vick has now missed 7 passes in a row. Another nice punt from Schmidt. Jones is going to let it go wisely into the end zone for the touchback. So, Cardinals get it at the 20 when we return to the Gator Bowl. Louisville leads 14-3. Just under 9 minutes to go first half. Louisville leads Virginia Tech 14-3 in the Toyota Gator Bowl. And the winner to get this handsome trophy, redesigned trophy here for the Gator Bowl winner. Louisville making its first Gator Bowl appearance. It's the 5th time that Virginia Tech has played in the Gator Bowl. Louisville takes over at the 20-yard line with an I formation. Taylor, the fullback, Bush, the tailback. Cantwell, and LaRudia, what a catch! What a catch as he goes right over Roland Minor to snag the football.
Well, you see why he's averaged 22 yards a catch, because they throw a lot of these deep balls, jump balls to him, and let him use that 6'6" height. What great hands too, Tom.
Oh, beautiful catch for 33 yards.
He's got hands the size of small dogs. You just go up there, just snatches the ball out of the air. The defensive back has no chance.
Well, he put the bite on Minor that time. Minor even was hand fighting him a little bit. Couldn't stop Urrutia from making the catch. End around to Harry Douglas. Virginia Tech will have none of that as Darryl Tapp, the All-American defensive end of the Hokies, who spent the offseason staying in Plattsburgh, riding up and down the hills on a bicycle to try to strengthen his legs, and said his parents, his 2 older brothers, toughened him and made him the type of player that hustles on every play, hustled for the tackle in.
What a delightful guy Darryl Tapp is. We got a chance to spend some time with him, and not only a really good football player, but one of those guys, just a good guy off the field. And his coaches were saying, no matter what this guy does in his life, whether it's football or not, he's going to be successful.
All-American, All-ACC. Burchett came flying across the line of scrimmage. We'll see if he was drawn or not.
Darryl Tapp against...
False start. 89. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Giacomini.
Down near the bottom of the screen. Moving early as a tight end. Saying Darryl Tapp against Boston College. He had, 2 sacks to go along with his 6 tackles. He forced a fumble. He caused an interception. He can affect the game in a lot of different ways.
All-ACC, All-American. Graduated in December. He's a prep All-American, Chesapeake area, Deep Creek High School. Cantwell. Under pressure and sacked. That's when he has to throw away, Pat.
Yeah, absolutely, because Nolan Burchett, number 96, just kind of a bull rush right into Hunter Cantwell. But what I do like about Hunter Cantwell, his eyes were always focused down the field. So if you don't see that rush, right, because your eyes are downfield, you got to feel it. Watch number 96 just kind of push his man in, and then just too late for Hunter Cantwell to duck him. You don't
so
see
a loss of 8. 3rd and 28.
I'll tell you, the one guy you want to watch is Urrutia if you're going to Virginia Tech. He's down here.
Cantwell down the sideline, overshoots, and it's intercepted. Picked off. Picked off by Minor. Looking for blockers. Past the 40 and pushed out of bounds after the interception. Roland Minor from Washington, D.C., the sophomore, with his third interception of this 2005-2006 season, a 23-yard return.
You know, every time I watch this Virginia Tech team play, Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, really does a great job with this. Watch the top of the screen here, the overthrow, number 15, Roland Minor. Is anytime they get their hands on the ball, now they become offensive players. He's no longer thinking, hey, I'm a defensive back. He's thinking, I'm going to score. We mentioned 5 different defensive players this year have already scored for the Hokies. And a really good catch by Roland Minor. Good coverage, good catch, and then just as importantly, you know, really good return. He wasn't just satisfied with the interception. He picked up another 30 yards.
So a turnover, and now the Hokies trying to take advantage of it as Orr pounds ahead to midfield. There's Minor, who picked off the Cantwell pass. That would go in the books as the second interception thrown by Cantwell this season.
Only the defensive starter, not from Virginia, is from D.C. area.
Right, Minor. This Hokie team made up, of course, largely of Virginians, as is Coach Frank Beamer, who takes great pride in recruiting the Commonwealth.
He's got most of the good players to stay in state. That's been one of the keys to his success and how he's turned the program around.
Vick on the option. Orr's able to fall on it to retain possession for the Hokies.
John Russell, the strong safety, got a medium rush that pitch. Watch the flash of number 13 come in, the white jersey. And really actually looked like he hit the right arm of Marcus Vick and affected the pitch.
Behind Orr, who was heads up to fall on it, with John Russell trying to pick it up off the ground and fall on it himself.
Guess what? This is a 3rd and long, 3rd and 12. Really good defensive first half by Louisville. Am I saying it right now?
Louisville. We get it. Derby City. Blitz. Vick with good protection. And completes it. A diving catch made by King.
What a target. Did you see the way Jeff King made himself a target as he was falling down? The big tight end, 6'5". He's in the slot there, runs a little square in. As he's falling down, though, he still gets his hands out, makes, you know, he's going to stop it with his body if it slips through his hands. So terrific play by the tight end.
Minor, who made the interception, celebrates as Jeff King with those great hands, small hands really, but really good hands. And the country boy from Pulaski County High School, also a Tech basketball player during his stay in Blacksburg.
Talk about
Brandon Orr again.
Jeff King playing basketball, had a big game last year against Duke where he had, you know, 8 rebounds and 6 points, probably his best game. He just plays basketball not only because he loves it, but it really helps his mobility and his hands in football. Marcus Vick was talking to us yesterday that he really likes Jeff King anytime he can get him one-on-one with a corner.
Well, isn't a tight end always a quarterback's best friend?
Absolutely, particularly when you're struggling, which Marcus Vick has a little bit.
2nd down and 6. Play action fake. Vick pumps once and delivers again right in the center of the defense. This is Harper. Shakes the tackle. Harper for a touchdown.
Well, all set up by the interception and then a good return, and then Marcus Vick finds Justin Harper, and you know, a pump fake and then a little curl route by Harper. Big target at 6'3", and we were talking to Brian Steinspring, the offensive coordinator. He says he loves Justin Harper over the middle because he's such a tall, big target.
Pace with the extra point good as Justin Harper scores his 2nd touchdown of his career, his 1st this season. Marcus Vick, after missing 7 in a row, was 2 for 2 on that drive after the turnover, covered 52 yards. The touchdown to Harper, celebrated by Minor, who picked off the pass to make it all possible. 14-10. Toyota Gator Bowl, Jacksonville. 5:06 left first half. Virginia Tech with a score, narrowing the count Louisville leads 14-10.
That was a really well-designed play by Virginia Tech.
Dunleavy will kick off. It's Spencer and Jones. There's Dunleavy. Backpedaling into the end zone. Spencer will down it.
Hey, Tom, let's go back to the touchdown. We talked about being a well-designed play, and why was it? Well, they kind of flooded the right side of the field with a bunch of receivers. You'll see 1, 2, 3, all on the line of sight of the quarterback. And then Harper just kind of settles down right there as the other two guys cleared out. A wide open Justin Harper on the little curl, and then he turns into a running back. So well-designed play and then finished well by Justin Harper.
And Marcus Vick celebrates. He was 2 for 2 on that touchdown drive after the minor interception gave him the football. So Hunter Cantwell now has to answer. His lead cut to 4. He hands off to Michael Bush.
They have really stuffed the rush after that opening drive, haven't they, Virginia Tech? Michael Bush got off to that terrific start for Virginia Tech's defense.
In fact, his first 4 carries went for 35 yards, and he's had only a handful of yards since then.
Well, Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, he does such a great job of changing the pace of the game. #1 ranked total defense, the 3rd in scoring defense, pitched a couple shutouts. We mentioned 5 different guys scored on defense.
Play action fake on 2nd down, and Cantwell whips it complete. Urrutia again wide open on the sideline, gathers it in for 15 yards and a Cardinals first down.
You know, all the stuffing in his face, all the taping on his nose, Hunter Cantwell is not concerned about that. All he's concerned about is looking downfield to find his receiver Mario Urrutia, and he's found him a bunch today.
4 times for 72 yards.
Yeah, he just kind of dodges that tackle. See, he felt that rush.
Yeah.
Threw it off balance, but he has a strong enough arm to still get it there. I really like his pocket presence.
From the 39, first down. Here's Cantwell to Urrutia again. Crosses midfield and has another first down. Brandon Flowers tackles him, but not until he had 11 yards.
Well, Mario Urrutia, you know, I didn't really know much about him until I started preparing for this game. But what a freshman year he has had. And I think it's going to be one of college football's stars next year.
Had an injury that curtailed him some late in the season.
He missed a couple of games, but anytime you have a guy who moves that well and weighs 220 pounds, is 6'6", he is an absolute walking mismatch, or running mismatch.
Handoff, Bush.
There's Darryl Tapp. There's Darryl Tapp. That's his 13.5 tackles for a loss this season. So quick off the ball, that first step. Watch number 55. Fights through a tackle, just disposes of the blocker. You know, it's so hard to see where the ball carrier is when you're engaged like that, but he just has a feel of where the ball is coming and made an excellent stop there for a loss.
Second down. So Cantwell might be changing the play. Hands it off to Michael Bush. And Bush bursting down the sideline. Caught by the collar and taken down by Rouse. But there's a run of 33 yards by big Michael Bush. 250 pounds, but quick feet.
Well, yeah, he's a big back with good vision and good feet. They blocked Darryl Tapp that time. I think it was Kurt Quarterman, the offensive guard, who got a good block on Tapp. And then Michael Bush, yeah, watch number 76, Quarterman, just kind of block out, just kind of really stymied Darryl Tapp. And that allowed Michael Bush really just to kind of hug that block and pick up his 75th yard.
75 yards first half for Bush. He takes a break on the sideline. Stripling is in. You see Cantwell, he caught a Virginia Tech player in the neutral zone, called for the snap, put down a knee, and got an extra 5 yards.
Did I see a flag, though?
I didn't see a flag either, though, actually. Looked good, but maybe
it looked good.
It looked good. It got nothing.
What happened? They just said no. They didn't say. They say he got back.
Well,
Jonathan Lewis thought he was offside.
There have been some mysterious calls in this game.
Indeed. Including names of cities.
I don't understand what transpired, but they called it just taking a knee and a loss in the play. Now second down. Cantwell looked one way, forced to go the other way, and throw it away. It was dangerous.
Yeah, that was supposed to be
was closest to it, I guess. But
Carlton Powell, number 99, read the screen perfectly.
But now here's third down, and one of those plays was wasted. He just took a knee thinking he had a Virginia Tech player in the neutral zone, and it appeared that he did. In fact, Jonathan Lewis, the player in the neutral zone, thought he was caught. It's very strange, very strange.
Well, who would you cover now if you were Virginia Tech? How about number 7?
What difference would it make the way this game is unfolded when he's covered or not covered? He's made the catch.
Yeah, well, he's right
Top
up there.
The screen, yeah,
right up there.
Cantwell swings it and throws it poorly. Stripling out of the backfield. It's an incomplete pass, not a backward pass. Incomplete as Cantwell just threw it where Stripling had no shot of catching it, and it brings up fourth down.
Bring on a pretty accurate field goal kicker.
Carmody working on 12 in a row. Arthur Carmody, the sophomore from Shreveport, Louisiana. It'll be a 35-yard attempt.
And again, we've talked about the special teams of Virginia Tech. They blocked 2 field goal attempts this year. Returned one of them for a touchdown.
Carmody's field goal attempt hooks through the uprights and is good. So Virginia Tech scores a touchdown, but then Cantwell directs the Cardinals down the field, and they settle for 3. That makes it a 7-point game after this Carmody field goal. It's Louisville 17, Virginia Tech 10. And the same to you, Jimmy, and we're looking forward to your chat with Coach Weiss. What a job he did in South Bend. We, of course, did the Notre Dame home games this season, and an amazing turnaround by the Irish, who have a tough task against Ohio State today.
Yeah, best defense they'll play all season.
Flannery's kick into the end zone. Morgan comes out with it. Spun around and taken down short of the 15-yard line. Lamar Miles on special teams. Good job for the Cardinals, a Florida native from Winter Haven. So Marcus Vick, whose older brother Michael, of course, set the standard for Virginia Tech quarterbacks. Michael Vick, who did so many things so well for the Hokies and continuing to do them for the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL. And serving a valuable role as a counselor, too, to his younger brother Marcus, who was troubled at times. And there's Michael in the stands watching his younger brother play here this afternoon. Handoff. Humes. Not much as we go to Lewis.
All right, Tom. Well, Michael Vick did a good job of hiding up here with the white hat on, but we finally spotted him. Michael, I guess you got in about 30 minutes before the game. Disappointing season for the Falcons, but does sitting here watching your brother help you out a little bit?
Yeah, I do. Have a chance to see him go out and get a win today. I think it'll make up for what we went through last night, but you know, it's been a tough season for us. I'm just glad I got a chance to come down and, you know, check his game out and see it live and in person.
As you watch him in this game, struggling a bit there offensively. Louisville's doing some things, but what about his maturation as a quarterback as he continues to learn the game?
I think he came a long way as a quarterback as the season progressed. He took all the right necessary steps to do the right things possible to become the quarterback he needed to be. So I'm looking forward to a lot of things in the future. I'm very excited about it, and you know, looking forward to a lot of big plays around here.
And when we watch him scramble like he just did, I mean, is that just one of those things, one of those traits that runs through the family? Any of this stuff that we've seen from him that you by chance have taught him?
Everything we do is traits that everybody who came up in our family who could play ball, they had all those traits. And Marcus has got passed on to Marcus. He's out there on the field putting in all the work.
All right, we'll let you stay undercover here. I promise I won't tell anybody where he is. Thanks so much, Michael.
All right, man, thank you.
Okay, happy New Year to you. Tom.
Yeah, good luck, Lewis. Everybody now knows where he is.
You know, it's interesting the coaches were saying about Michael when he first came to Virginia Tech. They tried to get him to stay in the pocket more, you know. And with
pass more, not give up on the pass so quickly. Yeah.
Exactly, but with Marcus, they want him actually to break the pocket more and use his legs.
Dumerville shaken up on that last play on the sideline for the Cardinals. They've done a good job on him today. Humes has the first down on forward progress. Dumerville back in
Back
now.
in. Watch Marcus Vick at the end of the play here. Kind of step right on Elvis Dumerville. That should be a penalty.
Yep.
That should be a personal foul.
And then one of his Louisville teammates saw it, I think. He came over and confronted Vick, but that looks like a deliberate. He was looking right down at it. He was looking right down at his leg, and then you see the Cardinal come over to intervene. Dumerville's back.
And you don't want to get him fired up.
They've done a good job of negating him so far. And Vick can't get away. Sacked back at the 15-yard line by Abe Brown.
Yeah, good old honest Abe Brown, a guy that really came on the last couple of weeks for the Louisville Cardinals. Was a wide receiver at high school, then played strong safety, but still retained the speed as an outside linebacker. Well, all three of these linebackers for the Cardinals are quick, aren't they? We see Brandon Johnson and Nate Harris, and now Abe Brown.
Abe Brown from Sarasota, Florida, returning to his home state. Quite a lot of the Louisville players from the Sunshine State. 20 seconds remaining till halftime. Hand it to Humes. A little above his back. Okoye makes the stop as they unscramble the players. Just 10 seconds left in the first half.
Well, I think a really good first half for Louisville. I mean, they played very well defensively, and Hunter Cantwell overcame some difficulties, some physical elements to throw 2 touchdowns.
And Dumerville's not too happy about things. And a teammate has firm hold on him. It's been a contentious first half. A first half that saw Jimmy Williams, the All-American quarterback, the corner for Virginia Tech, ejected from the game. Let's go to Lewis.
All right, thanks, Tom. Well, Bobby, I know you're trying to get your team off the field, but first of all, talk about the poise of Hunter Cantwell, even after taking the shot to the nose and the way he's done in the first half here.
Hunter's tough. I'll tell you what, he did a great job of standing in there and keep playing. He got hit real hard and probably broke his nose, but he's still standing in there and doing it. We just have to execute a little bit better on offense.
All right, and defensively, keep the pressure on Marcus Vick. He seems to struggle at getting him in a lot of third and long.
The key is to stop the run. We got to keep stopping the run. We got a chance to win.
All right, Coach, thanks so much. Tom?
All right, Bobby Petrino and the Cardinals in their first Gator Bowl appearance with the lead at halftime. It's Louisville 17, Virginia Tech 10. Now the Lincoln Financial NBC Sports reports. Let's go to our New York studio and join Jimmy Roberts. Halftime at the Toyota Gator Bowl in Jacksonville with the underdog Louisville Cardinals leading Virginia Tech 17-10. In fact, Pat, the biggest play of the game so far might have been that fake punt that went for 30 yards on Louisville's first possession. They wound up getting a touchdown out of it. They've been ahead the whole way here, though Virginia Tech did narrow the count a little bit. But one thing we've noticed from the outset, this game got a little chippy early.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, Jimmy Williams, you see he's the man circled, the All-American defensive back, bumped an official, was thrown out of the game. The guy that was going to be so important, still hot on the sideline. He had to leave the field, and then you see you get the late flag, late penalty, late hit. And then you see Marcus Vick there. I think he should have actually been thrown out of the game for that. That was a cheap shot trying to hurt Dumerville. And you see the first half struggles. Vick less than 50%. 4 personal fouls they had in the first half, and they allowed almost 100 yards rushing.
Well, right now we're in shirt sleeve weather, mid-70s here in Jacksonville, but weather could be moving in. This is National Weather Service radar showing the weather moving in. In fact, we are currently under a tornado watch, not a warning, but a watch, tornado watch, which means conditions are present which could possibly lead to a tornado. But looks like some weather could be moving in. You see the clouds overhead Alltel Stadium there as we get ready for the second half. The 2006 Toyota Gator Bowl. Louisville Cardinals lead the Virginia Tech Hokies 17-10. So the Louisville Cardinals with a 17-10 lead as we start the third quarter of the Toyota Gator Bowl. And just a moment ago, the officials gathered, looked like the game captains of both teams out on the field. I have an idea, just speculation, Pat, but he might have saying, look, calm down here. Yeah. And just a few moments ago, Lewis Johnson talked with Frank Beamer, the Virginia Tech coach.
Well, Coach, in the first half, you had 5 personal fouls, which included an ejection, and Marcus Vick is 5 for 13. How did you prioritize your discussions here at halftime? How did you prioritize your discussions here at halftime?
We've won a lot of football games, and we know how to win football games, and that's not by committing 15-yard penalties. Hopefully, we're going to be much better than that in the second half. You know, we've won a lot of ball games, and that's not how we play.
Marcus Vick struggling. How much of that is the Louisville defense penetrating, and how much is that him struggling, especially with a lot of third and longs? We saw that in the first half.
Well, we need to stay out third and long. You know, that to help the whole situation. And then, you know, he's made some great plays. You know, he's a competitor. You know, I think he's going to be just fine here in the second half.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Okay, Lewis, that was Lewis Johnson talking with Coach Frank Beamer just before the teams came out onto the field to start the second half. And we will start the second half with Marcus Vick getting the football as Louisville will kick off. And there's Doomerville. Remember that Marcus Vick with a step on the prone Doomerville before the half that did not draw a flag, but did draw the ire of Doomerville as we look at the first half stats.
Well, Virginia Tech with a big lead at the time of possession. And look at the balance, though, of Louisville. 95 yards rushing, 129 yards passing. That was one of their trademarks this entire year. They were balanced. They ran the ball pretty well. So they kind of really did that and scored 17 points against the #1 defense in the first half.
Flannery will kick off to Royal and Morgan. Eddie Royal. Smacked down hard. And there's a penalty marker down. That hit was by Richard Ragland. And a hold against the Hokies as they start out the second half with another penalty on the kickoff, no less.
Yeah, you know, again, just so you heard Frank Beamer talking about it to Lewis Johnson, just uncharacteristic of his team, the personal fouls, the special teams fouls.
On a return team, number 40, half the distance of the goal, first down.
And over the years, they just made a living doing everything right on special teams. But, you know, they've given up a fake punt, another penalty here.
Blake Warren called for the hold. Here it is.
Number 40. They just grabbed the jersey of the Cardinal player. Less than 50% for Marcus Vick. But, you know, he's a home run hitter. He's one of those guys that can, you know, you play like this, and then boom, come up with a big touchdown play.
He'll have to do it from his own 8-yard line as they start the third quarter. And to Humes, wrestled down. He might have lost a yard on the play. The Cardinal rush defense has certainly improved under Mike Cassidy, their defensive coordinator.
Absolutely. You're giving up just 87 yards a game.
Used to be nearly non-existent.
Absolutely. See what they've done, Tom. This year they ranked 20th. The last 2 years in the top 20. After being 76th a few years ago. So you know, you stop the run first, you force the team into being one-dimensional.
Second down and long. Here's Humes. Takes it to the 15-yard line. It'll set up a third down for the Hokies. Nate Harris credit for the tackle for the Cardinals.
Well, Nate Harris, the middle linebacker for Bobby Petrino's Cardinals, had a good first half. Picked up his 6th sack of the year, and a guy that has great speed for an inside linebacker. Number 10, we've seen him blitz. We've seen him run sideline to sideline. Had a good first half, making a bunch of stuffs at the line of scrimmage.
He was the Big East Defensive Player of the Week against Connecticut, and he had 13 tackles and 3 sacks. Junior college transfer from Dodge City, Kansas Community College. On third down, Marcus Vick sprints from the pocket. His head dives and apparently is just short of the first down. You see the yellow line. You see where it's marked just short. Grady and Harris covered him at that point. He thinks he has the first. And we'll check the spot of the football. As it looked like he was just short. It is short.
I think you have to punt it away here, don't you?
Oh, yeah, deep in your own territory. Only down 7. And another good series to open the third quarter for the Louisville defense.
They played well all game. Get Nick Smith in.
And Montrell Jones awaiting it.
It's one big punt Hunter. He's 6'2", 265 pounds.
He hits the weights. He's known as a weightlifter as well. They said it helps his punting. Based on his performance, I'd say you have to agree.
Yeah, look at that. Averaging
42 yards a punt for the season, and another boomer. Although it does take a Louisville bounce before it's down. 47 on that Schmidt punt with no return. So Hunter Cantwell began slowly, found his range, and with the toughness hung in there with a great first half. First drive of the game. That was his first completed pass. He took a sack. He took a bloody nose. He went to the sideline. He missed one play. They patched him up. Then with stuffing in his nose, he hits Tinch for his second touchdown pass of the first half. Cardinals would add a field goal, and they lead it 17-10.
You know, he was only 7 of 20 in the first half, but did throw those 2 touchdowns and showed remarkable leadership, hung in there under some duress.
And completes his first pass of the second half to Montrell Jones. Let's go down to Lewis.
Hey, Tom, I checked with the Louisville training staff right as the third quarter began to see how he was doing. They said they now acknowledge that Hunter Cantwell's nose may be broken, but they took no x-rays because the trainer said it doesn't change anything. They're not going to take him out of the game. They only changed the dressing on the inside of the nose, and, of course, that's as you see on his bridge. The trainer said, you know, you can't play with a broken leg, but you can play with a broken nose, and if you look at him real close, it looks like it's starting to black just a little bit under one of those eyes. So,
not much you can do to help out a broken nose.
Except protect him.
Yep.
Remember how many noses Jerry West, the old basketball player for Lakers, broke? He broke his nose like 12 times and still played.
I can remember a game in a Christmas tournament at University of Kentucky's Memorial Coliseum when he went over and had a broken nose out for a while and scored something like 30-some points. And he told me that 25, 30 years later, somebody produced the towel that he had used that night, covered with his dry blood, and said, this is the towel that you had at Kentucky that time when you had such a big game. Third and 2, Colby Smith, the setback, gets the handoff, spinning. No, fake the out. But misses Barnage's tight end on the pass.
Well, nice call by Bob Petrino. He was trying to get it all. It was supposed to be a touchdown throw or a long throw to Joshua Tinch. He was taken away, and then he threw it out to Barnage's tight end. Watch Barnage, number 82, kind of delayed out, but at first he was looking deep. Tinch was taken away, throws it to Barnage, with too many people draped all over him. And usually it's number 55, Gerald Tapp, who's draped over. He gave him a tap on the knee.
Actually a catchable pass. Barnage had his hands on it. Royal lets the ball go. And it'll be downed at the 1-yard line. A little special teams action from the Cardinals as they pin the Hokies deep. The Jacksonville Beach Pier. And here at Alltel Stadium, we're in the third quarter, 11:26 left. Hokies take over, but after a 58-yard Louisville punt, they're pinned inside their own 1-yard line. 7-point game. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Lewis Johnson at Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville.
And a real test for this Hokie offensive line. 2 tight ends in, just 1 wide receiver. You know, they need to get the ball out to give themselves a little bit of room.
Brandon Orr, the tailback. Jesse Allen, the fullback. And Orr, a stutter step, helmet flying off. And he's out to the 4-yard line. It was Murphy that lost his helmet. Jason Murphy.
Jason Murphy, an all first-team ACC offensive guard. He was really excited about making that all-ACC team. Called his...
Look at him looking up at the big
smiling. Called his mom to tell her, hey, Mom, I made all the ACC teams. She said, well, what does that mean?
Well, she said first, she was so thankful, celebrating, and then she said, well, what's that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Disappointing.
She knew it was good. Marcus Vick scrambling in his own end zone. Now brings it, dives ahead toward the first down markers. Brandon Johnson in hot pursuit of Marcus Vick.
Well, Marcus Vick really kind of glides, doesn't run, but just always the eyes downfield, just gliding. Dangerous because, you know, an offensive holding in the end zone is a safety, but no penalty there. But really good coverage, don't you think, by this Cardinals defense? The corners have played particularly well. William Gay and Rod Council really taking away the quick looks.
And the safeties, Russell and Sharp as well. The secondary as a whole has played very well. The ball marked a yard short of the first down. Orr picks up the first down as he turns ahead to the 20-yard line. Brandon Orr with a tough run. Earl Heyman credit for the tackle, but first down Hokies.
We talked about Brandon Orr as a freshman. You know, he only had 2 times where he only lost 2 yards the entire year on 98 carries coming into the game. So in a short yardage play, pretty good decision to give it to him because he's generally moving forward. Carried a couple of defenders the last 2 yards. That's a big first down for Virginia Tech.
Gets them out of the shadow of their own goal line. Vic with a short drop. Nowhere to go with it. Still looking. Finally spun down and sacked. Nate Harris. And Dumerville was there too, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he put a little extra licking on Marcus Vick because he remembered what happened that first half, at the end of the first half. Watch up at the top here. Dumerville at the top. He gets that quick jump. Dwayne Brown kind of steps him early on, but Dumerville just keeps on coming. And kind of participated in the sack of Marcus Vick.
That's a loss of 11. Second down and 21. Second sack for Nate Harris as he spun Vick down. You know, having a big game today.
Yeah, he's had 7 sacks as a middle linebacker. That's a pretty good season rushing the passer.
Good from the gun. Pocket rolls to his left. Brings it downfield and the catch made by Harper. The Louisville defender went for the interception, didn't get it, gripped on it. Harper caught it and gained 28 yards.
Yeah, you're right. John Russell, number 13, the strong safety, tried to make the interception. But here's Harper. You know, it's a double zone, waiting for the safety to come over. The safety really took the wrong angle, but good concentration by Justin Harper. That's a tough ball to catch, and you know, just thought he was going to get clobbered. But just, you know, John Russell just took a little aggressive angle.
So first down, Hokies, as they continue a drive that began on their own 1-yard line. Brandon Orr, gain of a couple, with Adrian Grady on the tackle for Louisville. And we remind you that coming up later this month, January 14th, the NHL returns to NBC. And with the exciting new rule changes, expect the scoring to be fast and furious in the new NHL. The National Hockey League returning to NBC Saturday, January 14th. Like the Rangers and the Red Wings, the Avalanche, the Flyers, the Stars, the Bruins. One of those games in your area. Check your local listings. Second down from the Tech 40. Quarterback draw. Marcus Vick. Into Louisville territory, a gain of 17 yards before he's hauled down by Brandon Johnson.
Vick was hot afterwards. You know, I don't think this was a design quarterback draw. It looked like all the receivers were out in the route, the linemen pass blocking because they didn't go downfield. So I think he just kind of took off early, saw a little hole and took off early. The long arms again of Brandon Johnson.
So a quarterback scramble for the first down.
And this is what the coaches were trying to get him to do. Well, maybe don't stay in that pocket quite as long.
Beamer's Hokies trying to tie the game with this long sustained drive. They're at the Louisville 42. Ditching tacklers, gets to the sideline out of bounds, picks up another first down.
You know, Tom, what a job that, you know, Frank Beamer has done. You know, he's been here at Virginia Tech an awful long time, his 19th year. And, you know, he started in his first 6 years, he was 24, 40, and 2. But didn't get fired. They had a lot of patience with him. They hung in there with him. And then he said 1992, even though he went 2-8-1, he really had a lot of close games and turned the season around. And then from 1993 on, they've been to a bowl game every year.
Well, and the administration gets credit for having the patience to stick with him for those lean years.
It doesn't happen much anymore, does it? You lose 40 games, you're gone.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's got one of the elite programs in all of college football.
9th play of this drive. They've already covered 68 yards. Or again, he's been the workhorse. And gets about 3 yards. So Frank Beamer has indeed built a winning program at Virginia Tech. There's that struggle through the first 6 seasons when he lost 40 games. And as we said, his team built on recruits from the Commonwealth of Virginia. 18 of today's 22 starters from his home state. And the recruits just keep coming to Blacksburg. And here was a key recruit early in his regime.
Yeah, Cornell Brown, 1992, they went 2-8-1. He was the most highly recruited player out of Virginia. And even after that season, he came to Virginia, and Frank Beamer said that turned it around for us.
2nd down and 7. Looking for a seam. Cuts back. And is down by Johnson.
I just think what Frank Beamer has done since that time, those last 13 years, you know, he's been Coach of the Year in the conference 5 times, 3 times the Big East, 2 times the ACC. The only 2 years he's been there, he's been the National Coach of the Year, got his team to the title game. He's done everything but win a national championship. He said what he's most proud of, you know, he's an alum. We're really turning this program around.
And oddly enough, he began his head coaching career in the state of Kentucky, Murray State. Got away from 2 men in the backfield. Fumbles the football. And looks like Virginia Tech got it back. But it'll be 4th down. Abe Brown made the play for the Card defense.
Brandon Orr, yeah, just kind of stripped out by Abe Brown, I think. It was 43 Abe Brown who stripped him. From the backside, yeah, it was Brown. I think actually Brandon Orr recovered his own fumble. And they're going to go for it on 4th down.
4th down and 1, and they will go for it. They bring Cedric Humes in at running back, and Jesse Allen in to block for him at fullback.
Cedric Humes, a really good short yardage runner. You always worry about a naked bootleg with Marcus Vick, too.
Humes nearly broke it, and has the first down to the 15-yard line. Lamar Miles hanging on for dear life.
Well, he tied for the ACC lead in touchdowns with 10, so you know he's a good short yardage runner. But Will Montgomery the center, and Reggie Butler up front doing a good job. Jason Murphy clearing a little hole there for Cedric Humes. Yeah, that'll get your coach pretty excited.
So the drive continues for the Hokies. They're now at the Louisville 17-yard line, looking for a tying score.
Well, this drive has been longer than the Orange Bowl halftime. It started on their own 1-yard line.
Inside the 1, actually. Hick still has it. Rolling. Plays the pass incomplete. Over on the sideline, intended for Clowney. Council running with him. Only the 2nd pass that the Hokies have attempted this entire drive that began inside the Virginia Tech 1.
It tells you kind of the series the offensive linemen have had, kind of clearing the path. And what about Brandon Fry in particular, number 74, the left tackle for Virginia Tech, getting his first start playing against Elvers Dumerville? I mean, he's played pretty doggone well.
He's negated him.
Yeah. I think Dumerville's really made too many plays.
14th play of the drive coming up. Nick's in the shotgun. Chase from the pocket. Still on the run, dives ahead and makes the 15-yard line. Probably gained a couple of yards. Council went for the shoestring tackle. Marcus dived over it.
You know, Tom, when you watch Marcus Vick, much like his brother, he is just, you know, a moment away from a big play. Anytime. You know, you can throttle him, but anytime there's a close game, any moment he can break a long one or throw a touchdown and break a game open.
So a key play here, 3rd down and 8. There are the numbers for Marcus Vick. Already has exceeded his first half rushing total. Low snap, Vick has it. Plenty of time. Crossing pattern complete, but short of the first down. It's caught by King, but it'll be 4th down.
Well, Elvis Dumerville finally got to his opposing quarterback, Marcus Vick. Watch number 58. Right up the middle this time. Usually comes from the outside. Little inside move and really kind of put the extra hit on Marcus Vick. And forces the field goal attempt.
4th down, and so they will attempt a 28-yard field goal. Brandon Pace. From 28 yards, Pace puts it up, and it's good. Long drive for Virginia Tech. They have to settle for 3, but they move closer, 17-13. Louisville's lead cut to 4 with 3:12 left in the 3rd quarter after that long Virginia Tech drive. Dunleavy's kick, fielded by Spencer. A little seam, stumbles forward across the 30-yard line to the 32. Good return of 31 yards before the special teams tackle by Martin. So Darryl Tapp will be back out on the field for the Hokie defense, and there's his brother Charles, his older brother Charles, who is a captain in the U.S. Air Force. Charles S. Tapp II, who served a tour of duty in Iraq from October 2004 to February 2005. And his brother Darryl has said what an inspiration his brother Charles has been to him, that it certainly puts the game of football in perspective when you consider that he has been in harm's way in Iraq. Hunter Cantwell of Louisville, first down pass complete to Joshua Tinch. Nice run after the catch across the 40-yard line, just short of the first down. Let's go to Lewis now, who is with Darryl Tapp's brother, Charles.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. Well, Charles is sitting here enjoying the game, riveted by everything that's happening. And we were talking about the relationship between you and your brother. And before you left for Iraq, you told me the story of giving him your dog tags. Tell me about that and the significance of that gesture.
Yes, back in October of '04, before I went to Iraq, I gave Darryl one of my dog tags so that he could have a physical, constant reminder that I was with him, so that he could look at it and draw strength at it, and know that when he went into battle on the field, that I was with him in spirit.
We'll take this play. And back to another question. He also tells a story that it was pretty rough growing up with you guys. What was it like? What was Darryl like as a young man? What were you trying to prepare him for?
I wouldn't necessarily call it rough, but I think we gave him the appropriate amount of brotherly love, being that we were two older brothers. We wanted to always instill him discipline, hard work, and always taking pride in everything that he did. And we hope that it would take him very far in life, on the field, in the classroom, and whatever he did in life.
All right, Captain, it's great to see you home.
Thank you.
Okay, Tom.
All right, Lewis, George Stripling stopped on the short yardage play, so it's 3rd down and a yard. Michael Bush in it, tailback, bouncing to the outside. That was a mistake. Stopped at the 40-yard line, short of the first down by the Tech defense.
Good play again by Darryl Tapp. Nice series of plays by the All-American Darryl Tapp, making his brother proud. Used to wear those dog tags underneath his jersey every game. You see the power. Darryl, not just a pass rusher, real strong guy, good leverage, 6'1", 265 pounds, knows how to use his hands.
And some help from the DB on the tackle as well, as Flannery kicks toward Royal. Fair catch called and made at the 17-yard line by Royal. 44-yard punt with no return. Tech's ball when we come back. And nobody has yet in this Gator Bowl game, 2006. Cardinals only lost twice, South Florida and West Virginia in triple overtime. First down play from Virginia Tech, a pass to Royal. Eddie is tackled by Preston Smith. As we move down inside the final minute of the 3rd quarter.
There's a guy, Darryl Tapp, that, as advertised, brings it every single play. They said, his nickname is Fast Forward. And you can see why, because every single play, every single down, he's going as fast as he can.
Vick on 2nd and 7, handing to Humes to the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd and short for the Hokies, as the 3rd quarter likely to expire here.
Well, the last series, the Hokies got their running game going. They're trying to do that here in this series as well.
And it looks like all their problems with the penalties pretty well ironed out by Frank Beamer at halftime. So at the end of 3, Louisville 17, Virginia Tech 13, back to the Gator Bowl after these messages from your local NBC station. Quarter with Louisville leading Virginia Tech 17-13 in the Toyota Gator Bowl. Not much offense in that third quarter. 3 points scored by the Hokies with that long drive consuming most of the quarter.
Got stuffed on 3rd and short.
Stood up and driven back by the Louisville defense.
Second time Preston Smith, second really a backup linebacker, number 6, just absolutely stuffs the run. Good inside penetration by the down lineman, and then Smith finishes it off.
So 4th down and a punting situation for Virginia Tech. Schmidt is on the boot.
Number 23, Nick Schmidt.
It sent it on its way. Low. Montrell Jones. The block over on the sideline. Ducks out of bounds. After he returned it 17 yards, the punt covered 48. Jordan Trump puts him out of bounds. Well, several legendary football players have participated in the Gator Bowl, like Ole Miss's Archie Manning in '71. Oklahoma State running back Thurman Thomas, 1984. Peyton Manning in the Orange of Tennessee in '94. Here connecting on a touchdown pass. Donovan McNabb of Syracuse in '96, hitting Marvin Harrison here wide open for a TD. And of course, Virginia Tech quarterback Michael Vick back in 2001.
Pretty good group of stars.
Yeah, I'd say.
Louisville only had 16 total yards in the 3rd quarter time.
Didn't have the ball very long. There's the handoff here to Bush.
Well, got some set up here on the reverse.
Fake and a reverse to Montrell Jones. That's actually Henry Douglas, 85 and not 86. 28 yards in any event. That's the important thing.
Yeah, you know, once again, Bobby Petrino kind of, and his brother Paul Petrino is the offensive coordinator, actually changing the pace of the game. Remember, you know, Vince Hall, number 9, almost gets there, the middle linebacker.
I thought he had him.
He did. Had the wrong guy.
Bush was able to hand it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Bush hands it off because he's a big, strong guy. Got the ball extended. And then Harry Douglas, their fastest wide receiver down the sideline. Good block by Eric Wood, number 77. So great call by Paul Petrino, gets him in great field position.
Little trickery, gains 28 yards, and a great play by Michael Bush, who appeared to be thrown for a loss, able to hand off the football. Cantwell. Touchdown! His tight end, Barnage. A fake punt led to a touchdown earlier, and here the reverse, the trickery, leads to a touchdown as Barnage catches it from Hunter Cantwell.
You know, Tom, I really like the way Hunter Cantwell hangs there in the pocket. And then he's got that big, strong arm to see his tight end. He's got the height at 6'4" to see him, the arm to deliver the frozen rope to the tight end. And that's terrific poise, good play call, and excellent execution by the Cardinals.
First Louisville touchdown since the first quarter, but an important one. And the extra point on Common. And he makes it. Trick play, and then Barnage on the touchdown reception for the second time this season. The celebration in the end zone. Cantwell. It's 24-13. Back at the Toyota Gator Bowl, where the Louisville Cardinals have just struck to increase their lead to 24-13. And the clock shows 13:37 in the 4th quarter. Flannery to kick off. Eddie Royer from the end zone. Just caught by a shoe top at the 22-yard line by Antoine Sharp. As we check in with Jimmy Roberts for an update. All right, Jimmy, and what about that stout Bama defense holding Texas Tech to only 10 points, the way they throw the ball around the field? There was a flag on that last play, the kickoff.
85 white, 27 red. Dead ball, personal fouls, 87 on a white, 27 on a red. Penalties, offset, first down.
I think you got the numbers all messed up. But in any event, they offset.
Absolutely. You know, if I were a young coach, I'd go visit Bobby Petrino and learn about what he's thinking offensively, because this is a guy that I think is one of the more innovative guys in college football. Scores a lot of points on just about everybody they play, including 24 points a game today against a team that's only given up 12 points on average. #1 ranked defense in the country.
So Tech takes over. First down pass. Marcus Vick shakes the rush. Wheels it downfield. Clowney has it to the 25-yard line. There is a penalty marker down.
Did Marcus Vick hang there in the pocket?
54 yards if it stands.
Shook off a blitzer.
Disregard the flag. There was no penalty on that.
So no penalty. Meanwhile, Brandon Orr is the Virginia Tech player down.
Yes, he gets some quick pressure from the backside, but he feels it, steps up, and then drills the ball deep. It could have been a face mask, right? Could have been a face mask penalty.
Got him more by the helmet, not the face mask, and let it go, John Russell.
But David Clowney had to adjust to the ball. If he could have gotten this ball off on time, it would have been a touchdown. But nonetheless, Marcus Vick did a great job of staying alive in the play.
William Gay makes the tackle as Orr was assisted from the field. So Clowney, the leading receiver on the season for the Hokies, makes his first catch of the game, his 33rd of the season. And the big play, 54 yards, puts Tech at the Louisville 24. And Hume shaking tacklers for the touchdown.
You just do not arm tackle Cedric Humes. I mean, he's a big back and he gets some momentum going. You just aren't going to bring him down, particularly up around the shoulders. Terrific job on the left side by Brandon Fry, and Reggie Miller opened up a gaping hole for Cedric Humes to find.
Broke the tackle of Russell, and Humes 24 yards for the score. There's the Russell tackle that he broke, and it looks like the Hokies are lined up to attempt a two-point conversion. That was a two-play, 78-yard drive that took just 33 seconds.
Yeah, the big heave by Marcus Vick, and then the run by Cedric Humes.
Going for two. If successful, it'll make it only a three-point game.
They're going to roll to the right, it looks like this formation.
And they do. Vick looks to the end zone. Pass, two-point conversion, good. Josh Morgan.
Yeah, kind of interesting design. They shifted the tight end over. He became ineligible. Then they motioned the receiver. Sprint out. Good vision by Marcus Vick. Squeezed it into a tight, very tight spot to make it a three-point game.
Frank Beamer likes it. His team within a field goal, 24-21. Entertaining Toyota Gator Bowl. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Lewis Johnson. It's 24-21 now. Louisville has led the entire way. 13:04 left.
Yeah, there's the guy, Cedric Humes, that got him right back in the ball game, though. Good powerful run, got the end zone. Didn't watch much football, but he plays it pretty well.
Jared DeVelli handles the kickoff. Fielded at the 5-yard line by Montrell Jones.
Hey, Tom, remember at the very beginning of the show, we talked about the two All-American defensive ends we're going to see. Elvis Dumerville really been shut down by Brandon Fry, who's gotten his very first start. That time, Dwayne Brown kind of swallowing him. Really hasn't had much of a day, only one tackle. That time, Reggie Miller, but Darryl Tapp has made his presence known. Just stuffed the run there, gotten after the quarterback, Hunter Cantwell, and then it was a very critical 3rd and 1 where he kind of stuffed the run and forced a punt by the Cardinals. So Darryl Tapp got the better of the two All-American defensive ends.
5 tackles today. As first down play is a handoff to Schmidt. Got a yard. Not much more. As they rolled to the right and a little counter back to Colby Smith. Nothing doing. Dumerville's had a long afternoon, as he has had late in the season, as the Chiefs offensive concentrate on him. As we look at the Weather Service radar, which is converging on Jacksonville.
Anything I should be doing?
Just get under this table if need be. Okay. I'll tell you when you can come up. The blimp is already bailed.
It's gone, like Elvis.
Don't blame him.
Left with Elvis.
Cantwell. Into double coverage with a flag coming down. Joshua Tinch sandwiched by the two Tech defenders.
Yeah, Joshua Tinch, I think, is a good story for Louisville. The guy, one of their co-captains. And Tom, we've talked about, you don't see many times wide receivers being co-captains. And he's a great leader. He was really a highly recruited basketball player out of high school.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 25. Spot foul.
If you take a look, he's the inside man, number 9. Yeah, that's a good call.
Parker, DJ Parker got there. DJ Parker.
Absolutely.
Got there early.
Yeah.
Penalties have hurt the Hokies badly today. This one gives Louisville a first down. Michael Bush can't turn the corner. Ridden down by James Anderson. Anderson, the linebacker and artist. He has an art degree. He's in graduate school now, and makes these. In fact, his professors in the School of Art say that he has really progressed, much as he has in football, and he has to watch his mom, though. His mom likes to grab him when he creates a work of art, a painting, a sculpture, whatever. She likes to take it home with her.
Yeah, he actually hides them underneath his bed, and his mom takes them, goes under his bed, takes the paintings, and then takes them to her house.
Hokie show blitz. Shovel pass complete. Bush. Tripped up. Nice defensive play. Joshua Tinch. It's a shovel pass.
It's a nice little play, little change of pace. It looked like Bush because it was you saw the 9, but it was actually the wide receiver, Tinch, number 9, just lined up as the wing. Good change of pace. Good call by Paul Petrino. Picks up, well, didn't quite pick up the first down. Gets to third, and it was certainly a manageable down, 3rd and 1. I really like the way Joshua Tinch has played during his career.
And what's the first thing the coaches always say about him? A team guy.
Absolutely. You don't hear that about wide receivers much.
They're down in a yard. Bush has it. Claws his way into Hokie territory to the 47-yard line, where Kerry Wade takes him to the turf.
Now, we talked to Michael Bush yesterday about, running in the short yardage and goal line kind of plays. He said, I get to that line of scrimmage and I look over the defense and I know where the blocking scheme's going to be. And I have a pretty good idea, even before the snap, where I'm going to run that thing and how I'm going to pick up the first down. Really a powerful guy at 250 pounds.
Rushed for 84 yards today. Cantwell with a play-action fake. Rolling to his right. And then heaving it downfield. That's a dangerous toss, too. Urrutia, who's been blanked in the second half, covered by Brandon Flowers, and the pass off target. Well, one thing Cantwell is not is fast.
Well, he is a good fisherman, though. I mean, he told us yesterday that he loves the outdoors, and why he's, he hadn't been practicing. He's been down here fishing, and their hotel has a pond out back. Caught a bunch of fish this past week, he told us.
Some bass and crappie and catfish.
What a delightful guy, Big smile on his face when he not only ran out against Connecticut his first start, but when he ran into our meeting yesterday.
2nd down and 10. Empty backfield. Cantwell finds a receiver at the 40-yard line. It's Jones.
Now, the ball comes out of Hunter Cantwell's hands pretty fast, Tom, and that pocket presence, I don't think you can teach that to guys. You have it or you don't. Yeah, you mentioned he played in a real good high school program. They threw the ball a lot. And you see how tall he is? He can go right over those offensive linemen with that good overhand delivery. Doesn't get many balls tipped because of that.
Big play here on 3rd down and 3 from the Virginia Tech 40-yard line. 3rd down and 3 from the shotgun.
That's a fumble.
Ball's loose and Tech has it. Chris Ellis knocked the ball loose.
And I think James Anderson got it. No chance for Hunter Cantwell. Number 49 up. Defensive end, right defensive end, absolutely just beats his guy cleanly inside, pops the ball loose, and his teammates pick it up. Boy, that's not good for a broken nose.
And not good for the Louisville lead, which is only 3, as the Hokies take over just short of midfield. He was, as you said, he never looks at the rush. He concentrates downfield, and he never saw Ellis coming.
I think they're actually reviewing this, Tom, to see if his arm is moving forward. It looked like a fumble to me. I think that is a fumble.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't think that ball is coming forward. Chris Ellis just got an absolutely clean hit. Boy, I tell you, Hunter Cantwell has taken only his 2nd start, but a season full of shots today.
Well, as Bobby Petrino said, though, he has to learn to sort of feel that rush because
that arm was never going forward.
The Big Ten replay system in effect here, even though the crew is from the Big 12.
After reviewing the play stands as called, fumble, first down.
Now we get it right. Good play there by Chris Ellis, sophomore defensive end. Coaches think that he has a big 2 years coming up ahead of him. Well, that's just a devastating tackle. Wow. It's amazing Hunter Cantwell even got up. And then James Anderson, the artist, with the recovery. Wow.
So Vic, who has hit 6 of his last 7 passes, takes over at his own 47. Play action fake. Vic pumps once. Now goes deep down the sideline, and he has a man there. They converge on him, and that'll be interference.
He caught it anyway.
Yeah, he did. Clowning. Wow.
Well, terrific concentration by David Clowney.
Council and Russell converged on him, knocked him down, and somehow he caught the ball despite the pass interference. No, they say he didn't. Okay. Everybody in the stadium thought he caught it.
I thought he dropped it. I mean, caught it. But, you know, David Clowney does a great job of adjusting to the ball here. Has it momentarily, and no, indeed, he dropped it, hit the turf. But they called the penalty nonetheless. But did a great job of fighting back inside. The ball's in the air, fighting for position. And David Clowney is interfered with to give him the first down.
There was pass interference on a defense, number 35. The pass was ruled incomplete. It'll be marked off 15 yards from previous mark. Automatic first down.
Well, it was definitely interference.
Yeah, and I thought he originally had caught this ball, but it kind of slipped through his hands. There's one defender, yeah, hits him right across the face, right across the helmet. That was 35, Sharp. Brandon Sharp, yeah. I think it's a good call, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Easy to see that in slow motion, but in real time, and the ball just bounced right back up into his arms. Looked like he had caught it. In any event, first down for the Hokies.
Oh.
Cedric Hughes stuck by Heyman.
Heyman got some awfully early penetration. Number 66 just kind of stayed low, and look out if you're a running back. Heyman, number 57.
Today's game is sponsored by Gatorade Thirst Quencher.
Second down, 13.
You know, Virginia Tech just needs to avoid a lot of the negative plays. They've had so many second and third longs because of the penetration by these Cardinals defense.
Vick from the shotgun goes for the end zone. Incomplete, intended for Hyman.
Flag down.
And Nate Harris, the linebacker, running down the field with him, and another yellow flag.
Well, they're going to call pass interference again.
And wait for the penalty call again. Already one pass interference on this drive.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 10.
Yeah, that's the middle linebacker matched up on a wide receiver. You always like that, right, Tom?
First half.
He didn't get his head turned. Number 10. Didn't get his head turned. Didn't look like he really touched him. I don't know. It did not look like he touched him at all.
But you're right, had he turned his head, I don't think there would have been a flag.
I don't think that's pass interference, Tom. I don't think he ever touched him. Bobby Petrino didn't believe he touched him either.
First down, Virginia Tech, now at the 26-yard line of the Cardinals. Hughes. Tough to bring down.
I haven't seen one guy take him down today.
No. Well, a moment ago when
that's true. You're right.
Heyman hit him. Got about 4 yards on that play, so it'll be second down for the Hokies as the clock ticks down toward 8 minutes. 30 penalty yards and not much else.
You know, Marcus Vick does a nice job of throwing the ball deep. Throws a nice deep ball, and you know, either his guy's going to catch it or it's going to be pass interference, and he's got 2 of those on this drive already.
Vick with a fake, still has it. Now throws complete. Was he inbounds? Yes. David Clowney tight, roping the sideline for the catch.
And we talk about how David Clowney adjusts to the ball so well. Just came off a deep route, fakes the deep route, and the deep comeback. That's a good route, and yeah, pretty good coverage by Rod Council. So this comeback route set up for the deep post that Clowney ran just a moment ago and was interfered with. And then he catches the nice sideline for the first.
And Clowney just able to stay inbounds with the 1 foot. So 7 of his last 8 now for Marcus Vick. That one covered 15 yards. First and goal at the 7. Hughes cuts up to the 5-yard line. Antoine Sharp, the Louisville tackle. As the clock kicks inside 7 minutes. This drive by the Hokies, which could give them their first lead of the day, began with the sack of Hunter Cantwell, which caused the fumble.
Well, this is where Cedric Humes has been such a weapon for the Hokies this year. 11 rushing touchdowns, tied for the lead in the ACC.
Fake to Hughes. Vick tosses. And it's complete for the touchdown to Jeff King.
That's his 12th touchdown catch of his career. More than any other tight end in Virginia Tech history. What a target is Jeff King at 6'5". Right in the middle of your screen. Throw it up high. Let him go get it. Use those hands. Secures the ball. But the Jeff King's a good tight end. He runs, blocks, pass blocks well.
And pace for the extra point. That's good. Well, Marcus Vick has been swinging to the good side, the bad side, now back to the good. And he's hit King for the go-ahead score. Marcus Vick has the Hokies up 28-24 on Louisville. First lead of the game for the Virginia Tech Hokies. The Gator Bowl as Dunleavy kicks off. And buries it in the end zone for the touchback. Jones will down it. Well, Virginia Tech has the lead for the first time today thanks to the sack of Hunter Cantwell and the fumble. Then a couple of pass interference penalties kept the drive going. And finally, Marcus Vick hitting Jeff King as tight end for the score. And it's 28-24 Virginia Tech.
And now we see what Hunter Cantwell has in him. We know he's an awfully tough guy. Down by 4, 3 timeouts, perhaps his last possession.
14, Virginia Tech points off the ball return. Michael Bush, tough run.
Good start to a drive, right?
Right. James Anderson makes the hit.
Yeah, this is how they started the game. Some trap plays with Michael Bush. They come right back at the exact same play they started the game with Jeremy Darvo, number 74, leading the way in the trap. Michael Bush hugs that pulling guard or tackle and makes the first down.
16 carries, 94 yards for Bush. Cantwell almost shoots to Rudy, who was wide open, breaking open across the middle. He had gotten by Brandon Flowers, and Cantwell missed it.
I think one of the best things about Hunter Cantwell and any quarterback is just, you don't get discouraged. You miss a guy like that. Hey, I got another down. I'm just going to do it next down. Really a very, very confident young man for a guy who hasn't played a lot. And I was surprised, pleasantly surprised. I think, your teammates feel and sense that. 3 touchdown passes today.
He's the walk-on redshirt freshman. Pressed into service with the injury to Brian Brown. Plenty of time for him. He's going to run with it. Finally, nobody opens up. At the 35-yard line by Tapp and Hamilton.
Man, yeah. Isn't it the 8th Amendment that, you're not allowed cruel and unusual punishments? Just got absolutely crunched. Justin Hamilton.
And shaken up enough that they would have to use a timeout to let him clear the cobwebs.
What do you think Mom's thinking now?
Cantwell gathering his thoughts, if he still has any after that. We'll take a break, too. Some wild emotional swings for Hunter Cantwell's mom, Brenda, today. He's thrown 3 touchdown passes, but he's taken a beating. That's the latest hit. And he had to take a timeout.
So you hit 10 times, knocked down 8 more, sacked 3 times. Yikes. Well,
it's still in there slinging, and it's 3rd down and 4. Intercepted. James Anderson. Touchdown.
College just trying to squeeze it in there in a real tight area. I don't think he even saw the linebacker, saw the defensive back. The linebacker, James Anderson, the artist, makes a beautiful play.
He had the hands of an artist, didn't he? As he gathered it in with 1 and then took it 38 yards for the touchdown.
Wow. Well, that's the 6th the offensive player that scored for Virginia Tech this year now.
They beat you in a lot of ways. Hunter Cantwell's interception taken by Anderson for the touchdown. Pace adds the extra point. And after trailing the entire game, Virginia Tech now leads 35-24.
Yeah, just knew it as soon as it came out of his hand, he was going to have a problem. And I tell you, these defensive players are always thinking about scoring touchdown. There's Mom Brenda, and every mom knows when the quarterback does something wrong. Yeah, she can't believe it. It's enough to make you want your son to play tennis.
So Virginia Tech favored here in the Gator Bowl, trailing until the 4th quarter. Now taking command with just over 5 minutes left. Anderson intercepts, shakes off Cantwell's tackle try, scores the touchdown, and it's 35-24. Hokies over the Cards on a rough afternoon for Hunter Cantwell. Virginia Tech with 22 points in the last 8 minutes. Leading 35-24, just over 5 minutes left. Dunleavy's kick into the end zone. Jones comes out with it. Jones with a nice return. And caught from behind as he crossed the 40-yard line. A touchdown-saving tackle by Brett Warren. 42-yard return.
Now let's go back to that interception return for the touchdown. This is James Anderson. Watch him. Watch him. You know, he's long, he's lean, he's 6'3". Does a great job of just cutting underneath the route of the tight end, and then a terrific one-handed catch, and then into the end zone. And these guys just continue to score on defense. He is the 6th different player to have scored a touchdown this season. So add James Anderson's name.
And a screen pass to Bush. Michael Bush goes to midfield. Meanwhile, Hunter Cantwell back out on the field. He takes the licking and keeps on ticking.
You know, he told us yesterday for Christmas his gift was a ski trip to Vail. We were supposed to go January 3rd. Do you think he's going to be able to make that ski trip?
He and his cousin headed for.
I cannot imagine going skiing after the.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's not going to feel like going skiing. I promise you that. Fishing, maybe.
Yeah. Whirlpool, maybe.
His pass, good for a first down. Collared by Montrell Jones.
And you know, Tom, I know Brian Brom's coming back next year, and Brian Brom had a terrific year, but Hunter Cantwell has a career, I think, in Division 1A football. There's Brian Brom, the Big East Offensive Player of the Year, had a sensational year until he hurt his knee against Syracuse. But, boy, this Hunter Cantwell, you did find out you've got a guy who can play, and he's tough enough, and he'll get better. But, you know, he's strong, he's accurate, and he's got great leadership qualities.
Under pressure again and sacked back at midfield.
Vince Hall in there again, and I saw Chris Ellis, and then Anderson.
There were lots of them, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the first guy was Chris Ellis, number 49. He plays the other defensive end from Darrell Tapp, and boy, was Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, high on Chris Ellis.
4th sack of the day for the Hokies. Tipped and incomplete.
Is that Chris Ellis again?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. He's athletic, isn't he? You know, he's 6'5" and 250 pounds, but boy, can he move. He just got his right hand in there and way to the throw. So the sack for one play, tip ball on the second. It's pretty good back-to-back plays by Chris Ellis.
It sets up a 3rd down and 17. Cantwell throws underneath and misses. Bush. So 4th down now. 4th and 17.
Absolutely, you have to go for it. I think, why not give your 6'6" receiver a chance? Even if he's double covered, it's 4th down. Give Mario Urrutia, who's had a real nice day, can out-jump people.
I don't think he has a catch in the second half, does he?
Let's see. Well, they may have shut him down in the second half. You're right.
No catches second half for Urrutia, who had 5 in the first half.
Well, I'd still give him a chance. He's down here at the bottom.
Cantwell going long for Urrutia. And broken up. Nice defensive play by Brandon Flowers. Flowers got into the game when Jimmy Williams was ejected in the first quarter. Made a nice play on that football. He's from Florida, from Delray Beach. Redshirt freshman. Actually had a medical red shirt last year after breaking his leg.
This is one, maybe if you throw it outside over the outside shoulder, he has a chance, but perfectly screened by Brandon Flowers.
And heads up two. Maybe he could have caught it for the interception, but he'd been back at his 5-yard line, knowing it was 4th down. Batted it down, and they'll take over instead at their own 49-yard line.
Well, what a good second half for these Hokies. Frank Beamer said, hey, we got to run the ball better in the second half, and boy, they did.
And shut down the Louisville offense for the most part. 4th quarter has belonged to the Hokies. Hughes
gets him in bounds.
They drag him out of bounds. Johnson makes a smart play.
That's what Cedric Hughes just has to get down.
Yeah,
right?
just fall down.
Just fall down.
Louisville can only stop the clock a couple of times. Cantwell with what we believe to be a broken nose suffered earlier in the game.
Yeah, but not a broken spirit. A guy that, highly confident. He's going to play a role for this team for the next couple of years.
Royal goes in motion. We expect the Hokies just to grind the clock now, but Vic will pass.
Boy. Stop the clock twice in a row.
Yeah, intended for King, broken up by Sharp. Stops the clock at 3:11.
Well, you know, if Virginia Tech hangs on and wins here, it would be only the 3rd time they've won 11 games. And Frank Beamer's been at the helm for those. Really one of the elite programs in all of college football.
In their 13th straight bowl game. And, of course, some bad thoughts about this field for the first 3 quarters of the game, and back the last time they were here, which when they lost the ACC championship game to Florida State in a big upset. The Hokies were expecting to win that game and move on to the BCS. Seminoles upset them here at this field, but they come back and apparently now are on the way to victory in the Gator Bowl with just 3 minutes left. It'll be 4th down, though, for the Hokies. Both these teams are very close to a BCS Bowl. Louisville in its first season, when we expected them, predicted they would win it, suffered a shocking loss to South Florida, which is a bowl team itself. And then that triple overtime loss to West Virginia on a controversial call. Of course, Virginia Tech lost to Miami on the 6 turnovers that game by Marcus Vick. And then upset by the Seminoles on this field in the ACC championship game. Still on balance, excellent seasons for both teams. Schmidt.
Nice punt.
But it bounds into the end zone for the touchback. It'll come out to the 20. So Louisville will take over at the 20. You asked for it, and we heard you. 2 hours of comedy back on NBC Thursday. Don't miss Will and Grace, 4 Kings, Earl, and The Office. All new starting this Thursday night on NBC.
Well, there's a guy who had a pretty nice second half, too, David Clowney.
Yep, Marcus Vick, after sputtering in the start, plagued by penalties and personal fouls, and the coach got them straightened out at halftime. More than likely laid down the law about their on-field behavior, and the second half has been completely different for them. There's Urrubia's first catch in the second half. Clock will stop on the first down at 2:02. Hurry up offense for Louisville. Urrutia, the intended receiver, as Cantwell takes another hit. You know, Louisville has scored 24 points on Virginia Tech with their walk-on backup at the helm.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about how good Virginia Tech's, defense is. #1 total defense. Their allergy, they only gave up 12 points per game, so he had a very nice game, in spite of a couple of interceptions.
Pass over the head of Urrutia and picked off.
Urrutia just stopped.
Flowers with the interception. interception.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mario Urrutia just stopped on his route and left his quarterback out to dry and ended up an interception. Good play by Brandon Flowers again. Watch number 7 in white, the wide receiver, just kind of stop. Just slows down. Yeah, see that?
He was in a jog.
Yeah, he was in a jog. I mean, the ball's in the air. You've got to sell out and go get it no matter what the score is. Yeah, he is absolutely jogging. And no surprise, Hunter Cantwell took another shot. Add that to the list.
Well, he can, if he goes indeed to Vail for the skiing trip, he can spend the first couple of days just immersed in the snow, just burying in the snow, and let that cold heal his wounds.
Yeah.
One thing, Louisville is losing a couple of their stalwarts that we mentioned at the start of the game, Pat, their defensive linemen, Lefevue and Spitz, have done such a great job for the Cardinals the last few years.
Yeah, they certainly have played together for 36 straight games. Bob Cucino's got got it going now. He's got a program going. If you do it 1 year, it's kind of a good year, but if you do it 3 years in a row, which he had, won 27 games over those last 3 years, it's a program. Getting some good recruits in.
Humes as they come down to the final minute of the game. Antoine Sharp on the tackle as Louisville doesn't want to see the Sunshine State all that often. 1-12 in games played in this state of Florida. So it'll be 1-13 in another minute. I believe they play Miami to open the season next year. I'll tell you what, Beamer got them on track at halftime, too. They were a much better team in the second half than they were in the first, and they owned the fourth quarter to chalk up this victory. Virginia Tech defense forced 3 fourth-quarter turnovers. The Hokies take command of the final period after trailing for the first 3 and win it over the Louisville Cardinals here in the 2006 Toyota Gator Bowl. They were able to neutralize Louisville's pass rusher supreme Elvis Dumerville, able to force Cantwell into turnovers, and able to take command of the game late to win the 2006 Toyota Gator Bowl. There's the Gatorade shower. Oh, Frank Beamer. So the final score, Virginia Tech 35 and Louisville 24. For Pat Hayden and Lewis Johnson, this is Tom Hammond saying so long from Jacksonville. Hunter Cantwell showed his toughness, gave it a shot, but in the end, the Hokies and that rock-solid defense were too tough as they win the Gator Bowl. Again, Tom Hammond saying so long from Jacksonville and the 2006 Toyota Gator Bowl.